ordinary person just like you. If you take a look inside, you see the great things that people do. Changing lives day and night, but nothing I do ever makes the news. Still I have to do what's right, to the King of all kings all praise is due. Yesterday I was on a train, a little boy asked me my name. He said, sir, I've seen you before, tell me who are you? Said I am a legend that you never heard of before. I said I am a lion, but he never heard me roar. I am a hero that nobody celebrates. But if one person remembers my name, that means I made a change. I'm the man who cooks the food and feed the street people in the afternoon. I'm the lady with the broom, sweeping the halls of your son's preschool. I'm the soldier who's up all night, making sure everything's alright. And if you ask me, I'm quite fine, being an ordinary person doing what's right. Yesterday at the football game, a little girl asked me my name. She said, sir, I've seen you before, tell me who are you? I said I am a legend that you never heard of before. I said I am a lion, but you never heard me roar. I am a hero that nobody celebrates. But if one person remembers my name, that means on the ocean of fame I'm an unknown sailor. I'm the percussionist playing with the whalers, the one with the shaker, the mover and shaker. My name wasn't on the front of the paper, but me not cater. Much more than the worker is greater. Creation glorifies creator. So all deeds done are in the name of my maker. I am a legend that you probably never hear about. Words from the lion's mouth. I am a hero that nobody celebrates. But if one person remembers my name, give praise, that means I made a change. Story of my life, ordinary person just like you. If you take a look inside, you see the great things that people do. We're out here changing lives day and night, day in, day out. BBC don't show it, CNN don't show it. He's out.
Check it. 1, 2, what's going on? Turn it up. Check 1, 2. I want to play around.
Okay.
All right, cool. It's radio, my dear. It's radio. You know what I mean?
Oh, right. So I need to learn how to speak to this thing.
Yeah, you say 1, 2, 1, 2.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, go on.
1, 2, 1, 2.
No, it's not on.
It's not on.
It's low, isn't it? Okay, go on. 1, 2.
1, 2.
All right, see. There's singing mics, you talk to the side. Ordinary mics, you talk to the top.
I got you. Okay. I don't do singing, no talk. But this is it. So I'll talk to the side. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
You're gonna think.
Right, just in case anybody don't know what going, just to let her know that she's live. Just in case, you saw that 1, 2, 1, 2, that was all live, you know.
Oh, was that
Yeah,
live?
that wasn't a test, you know. That was the
Wasn't
real
it?
thing. But I was making you think it's the test. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's all part now. The world can hear you say 1, 2. You know what I mean? All right. So what go on, people? I know so kind of late, and this is not Lady Pearls with a husky voice. Yeah, I mean,
Stay there with a husky voice. What do you mean?
no, I don't want them to think that I'm her. You understand?
Okay,
So,
got
because
you.
this is her show.
No, yeah, you don't sound like her.
Yeah, no. You know what I mean?
Like to,
No, I wouldn't like to sound like her. You know what I mean? Although she got a nice voice and thing, but it's not masculine enough. You know what I mean? She needs some
power.
Yeah, some thing. Yeah. Oh, I'm not saying what the thing is, but she needs something. All right. So here we go. All right. I remember this picture, and I know what this one is. All right. So people, wagwan. I play the chronics for you. I am sitting in here for Lady Pearls, and today's show is supposed to be the Pearls of Wisdom show, which it is, and she's supposed to be here, but she got some man things to do, so let her do her man things. You know what I mean? So as you those who were listening last week, we was talking to the lady with the plantation. For all those who don't want to know how to grow herbs. Yes, you know what I mean? What are the herbalists them? If you want to know, we have somebody who can make your hands green. Yeah. And then we have enough ways, right? So we're talking about the thing. So introduce yourself, madam. We was here last week.
Okay, so yeah? Cool.
Are you what?
It's good.
Huh?
Nothing. My name is I don't know what that was about, but I got a little bit confused there. Sorry.
It's a man thing, It's a woman thing.
It's a man. It's the energy. Yeah, it's the energy.
Oh, energy. She said, "Oh, energy." All right, come people, look.
So I'll introduce myself.
Yes.
So my name is Shana Lua.
Mm-hmm.
I am a horticulturist.
Otherwise, somebody who plant the land.
Yes, someone who works with the land, and I focus on growing foods, using nature as an educational tool.
Mm-hmm.
I share my knowledge with children mainly, but also adults, but I prefer to teach children. And I do this through learning establishments where I go into schools and teach the children how to grow food, the whole cycle of plant life from seed to plate. I also run a few community projects, again teaching those who are willing to learn and who want to learn how to grow food using organic methods and how to respect and work with and alongside nature.
All right. Well, that was that. So people, she told you what she does. I went to find out for myself, and I brought me and my team to your plantation. Yes. To investigate Wagwan. I should have actually come and filmed some footage still, but I didn't expect to see what I was going to see. So went down there to see Wagwan, and I can't tell you everything because some of it I can't tell you anyway, because I can't. There's none of it. I can't tell you everything. I can tell you what go on. So the man them was there, and everybody was there looking at the plantation. Met some people who was helping planting some stuff and this and that. The place has got potential. Small though.
That's one of the places, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's actually. You think it's small? The growing space.
Yeah, you need more space because you could not grow a lot of food there, but you need more space for growing.
We have 5 different areas of growing.
Mm-hmm.
So we have the children's garden that is mainly for children. Beautiful setup. It has a pond. He invites biodiversity. It has a den as well, made out of willow, so we can do all the storytelling. It has.
You lot tell stories.
I don't tell stories. Well, but it was set up for people to come in and be able to offer that service. But yeah, it was used before in the past to do that, to tell stories as well. And but I use it a lot to when I'm working with children, and not outside the food growing. We go there, we have a good time, we have picnic, we look at the insects that are growing, that are living there, the biodiversity, how the insects link with each other. This insect eats that insect.
Insects link with each other.
How they work with each other.
Cause I think you watch them do their thing.
Do you know what? You see that every day, but you don't even notice that. You just walk past, you don't even notice that.
So what do worms do then?
Oh, worms. Oh, I could talk about worms for a week if you want me to. Yeah.
Worms is a funny thing, you know. 'Cause
No.
I want to know. I'm curious to know how worms multiply because
Okay.
when you chop them in half, they go back their business.
Yeah.
So I'm saying like, yo,
How you
these
doing?
guys got enough babies, brethren, because they can just chop off anything and it just
I don't
come
like
back up.
worms.
I used to chop up worms when I was little,
Is that what you did for fun?
not for fun. I just was experimenting.
Really?
Of course,
That's
not chop,
mean.
not like chop. Listen,
How many times did you do it?
I emphasize the word little. Yeah, when you're a child, you do childish things. Yeah, when you're a man, you put those things away. So if I'm not allowed to chop up worms when I'm little, yeah,
Stop
then
that.
yeah, how am I
the point
gonna
of being a
learn?
child?
You understand? So I'm sure you must have done
No.
something when you was little.
No.
Anyway,
I
I used to
don't
chop them up,
worms.
not literally go and chop them up with a chopper, but my dad used to do farming.
Oh yeah.
So,
yeah. So
when
you
I
have no
see the
choice,
big one,
yeah.
them, or if you chop them with a shovel,
Yeah.
yeah, they split up and go different
Separate
ways. So
ways.
that's what kind of like curious with them. I don't like the way they die when when there's no sun or when they're out of the dirt. I don't like that. I think that's a wicked way to die.
Yeah.
It's like, no, that's
They're
cold.
anemic as well.
They're
Worms
what?
can get very anemic. So if they're in soil and that soil is not nutritious,
Mm,
you will see that they become really anemic. They're very white. There's no color to them,
mm.
and they can't really move properly. You know,
They move. Show me again. Got do it again.
can't move properly. You know?
Hey, we should have a webcam, people. You need a webcam. The time worms move.
No, that's not how I
I
do it.
don't.
Add a bit more flow to it, yeah.
Okay, right. So that's how worms move, people. Right. So choose to Lady Pearls ain't here. You're gonna have to take the beating instead, yeah, because
right.
she's used to the thing. You know what I mean? So like how you're sitting in her chair and thing, you have to get this kind of treatment.
I'll
You know
get
what
the
I mean?
treatment. I'll
It's-
just make sure to give it back to her when I see her tomorrow, right?
Yes, please do. All
Yes.
right. So Lady Pearls,
We're on.
we're gonna do. You're gonna get the thing done. Right. Let's get back to the planting thing, not the planting, like planting. Worms. Right. We're not gonna talk everything about plant because we also got another brethren here
Yes.
that I'd like to talk to as well.
Yes.
Which I'm going to introduce him to you guys in a little while, but we're going to talk about more of the plants. So back to the worms, yeah,
Yes. I'm excited about
So that
worms.
yeah.
Yes. I love worms.
Okay, when's your birthday?
November the 4th.
So if I get you a box of worms, you'll be
Yes,
cool.
I'll be so excited because I have a wormery that it's filling up. So please, I'm a simple girl. I like things like that. Bring me some worms, some leaves, some sticks.
Hey, this is makes a people. This is what you will call a simple relationship. You have a girl and she like worms in her. No bother with no flowers.
No.
Just
no,
bring
I
a
like
bag of
flowers
worms and
as
give
well.
her, and she will be happy.
I like flowers as well.
No.
But you don't have to buy them. You can pick them.
Flowers die.
It doesn't matter. They die, but they decompose. So I'll always recycle them.
Yeah, but worms are living things.
I
And
know.
that'd be so romantic.
I
If I
know.
came home, give my lady worms.
I'll be so happy.
Okay, you see? That's romance there.
Yeah. I'll be
Worms,
really
you know.
seriously,
What
I
about
would be, 'cause
cockroaches and all those
no,
things?
no. Okay, let's stop.
You're
there.
not romantic. then.
I am
You
romantic.
don't know about
Worms,
cockroach.
because there's a
You see,
purpose.
people, this is what it is. So,
Purpose for worms.
yeah, cockroaches do their job as well, you know. And they only come out at night or in the dark and thing.
No. Have you seen the cockroaches back home? How big they are? You can keep them.
Okay. That's not a regular cockroach. Those
Yeah, that's-
cockroaches,
That's
you can put them on a lead, innit? Do you know what I mean? Them
You
big
can.
cockroach people, you have to walk with the lead with
Yeah,
them.
you
You know
have
what I
to,
mean?
You have to.
That's all good still, right? So we could go back to the worming thing. What worms? What do worms do? Just in case people don't know and anybody else locks them. We're not going to just talk. Oh, worms are not squeegee, and people. Oh, I don't want. If it wasn't for worms, you wouldn't be able to eat anything, and you wouldn't have no food. So let's explain the job of the worm and what the
Okay,
worm
so
does.
worms play one of the most crucial roles in nature, food growing, should I say, in relation to food growing. Worm poo. worm
Hey, do they do
casting-
that?
Yes. Worm casting is considered and is seen,
Don't say delicacy.
no, to the plants, yes.
Oh.
It's called a gardener's gold, black gold. That's what it is. It's the
Worm.
most nutritious food that you can
Ooh.
feed your plant with.
Oh, I thought he was gonna say eat.
No, you don't want to.
You said
eat it.
food.
The foods that you can because what worms do. Remember, they take all the biolife, the microlife, the dead leaves, whatever is on the surface, they bring it down and they will eat it and then poo it. So which means they're eating all that goodness, and then when they poo, that's what's going back into the soil. So that's why I want you to get me the worms for my birthday, so that I can put it in my
So you can get the poo.
So that I can get the poo, because it's the tea that I need for my plants, and it's the richest things that you
can. I tell you something, people. Your relationship must be romantic.
Not really, because they don't get me no worms.
Well, but that's it. If I can get my girl a bag of shaving cream.
Or worms.
Same thing. It comes from the worms.
Okay.
Yeah. So I can't believe what I'm hearing. I cannot believe what I'm hearing.
Well, it's black gold. That is black gold. That's gardener's gold, and that's the most. That's the best thing that you can give your plants is worm casting. What?
I can't believe this is when you need pearls, you know, to bail you out.
Why?
Wow.
Wait, did I? Well, I'm in trouble.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
I never even thought about worms doing that.
Yeah.
I can't imagine worms having sex.
So, okay.
They must have get tangled up and everything, innit?
I haven't got. Well, I don't know.
Not meaning talking, not to mean like that, because all these creatures in the earth, they have a purpose.
That's right.
Do worms like live in a colony? I know people don't want to talk like about worms, but I'm finding it interesting because I used to treat them bad. Not bad, but I'm just kind of, I'm kind of, it's good to know what these creatures are, because when we dig in the garden, we go through them. Sometimes we stab them, we see there's a big worm and you just chop it in half.
Yeah, children do that a lot.
Yeah, because we're not really thinking what they actually do and how they live. You understand what I'm saying? Because everything's connected.
Hey, did you know that they have 5 hearts? So if you break one, you still have 4 left.
They have what?
5 hearts.
5?
Yeah. 5 beating hearts.
5 hearts?
Yes.
So that's why you can chop them?
It could be, yeah.
So I was helping multiplication. I was helping. Yeah.
And it was a school. It was actually the children at. I didn't know this. Recently, I found out. Oh, well, not recently, but it was the children that taught me that. And they bought me a book, a worm book.
Worm has got 5 hearts.
Yeah, and they.
Why?
I don't know. That's something.
What's the purpose of that?
So if you break one.
Oh, you see, God knew what He was doing when He was making them. He knew that we'll be digging into the ground with tools. So He made them like potatoes.
Yes, that's right. Without the eyes.
Yes.
With the hearts instead.
That's it.
No potato tree though.
Those are the potatoes of the earth.
Yes. Yes.
And if you chop them, even if you chop a little piece, it can still.
You can still grow.
That is excellent.
Yeah.
That is good. That's a nice story to the worm.
Yeah.
Right.
That's one thing. They also indicators. So if your land is lacking soil is lacking worms, then you know that land is no good. If there's no life in that land under the surface, then you know that land is no good. It's either been played and it has chemicals, but there's a reason why it's no good. So if the worms can't go into your land, then you shouldn't be planting anything. What you should be doing is amending and restructuring the land. Right. Replenishing the land, that's it.
Okay, right. Making it interesting. You're making it very interesting. I never thought I was going to be talking about worms today. That's something that I never thought I was going to be thinking about. But when you brought the conversation up,
you brought it up.
Kinda. Yeah, I just said I used to chop worms. But when you brought the conversation up, I thought, all right, chop worms. Now we're going deeper into this conversation of what the worms do and how they live. And now we know that worms have got 5 hearts. That's like amazing. So where do we get worms from in that amount? Like, where do you get them from?
Well, there's so many different sources. I mean, one fun thing would be to get the children to
dig
them up. They love it. I mean, if they work in the land, naturally you see loads of worms. Oh, the compost heaps, best place to get worms. Because if you're doing your own compost, if you're producing your own compost, you have a heap, and no doubt, if the heap is good, if it's nutritious, then you will get the worm rate. But it needs to be closed. Worms like heat and temperature as well. Remember that.
Okay, right then. So what we're gonna do, yeah, we're gonna give out the number, because if there's anybody out there who really wants to get some worms and thing, you could give them your number, yeah.
I don't get worms.
No, if there's anybody want worms, because you want worms, innit?
No, I don't have worms.
No, you want.
I want worms. Yes, I do. If anyone can come in and give me my birthday present before.
Right. So if anybody out there want something to do, you can come dig up some worms and thing. You know what I mean, and give you a bag of them.
Yes,
I don't know.
That's what I need in my life.
Worms.
That's right.
You're a different type of person.
I know. Can you imagine
actually talk to somebody who like these strange things.
I know plenty of people.
Normally, people like women like different things, but you like a farmer, like you was born on a farm or something, and everything is getting your hands dirty.
Yeah, I love it. It's very hard for me to stay clean.
Why? Anyway.
Right.
So, people, today we had a nice conversation about worms, right? Although we didn't plan it, but it was interesting to know. What else do you do?
What else do I do? What other than cultivate?
Yeah, apart from getting your hands dirty and planting and the stuff with the children and all of that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I set up projects, so I do all the infrastructure, all the building. I run volunteering programs. It's pretty much like running a business, really and truly, running a farm. There's so much to it that I think people are. It's not just working the land. There's all the details that go behind the scenes that people don't see. There's a planting plan. You have to include your rotation plan, your companion planting plan. There's a lot that goes into cultivating the land and making sure that we are working with the land as opposed to against the land.
All right.
That makes sense?
We was talking about some people were listening last week. I'll type my texting crew. I forgot the phone. I'll go and get the phone in a minute. The phone is just doing what it's doing. Last week we was talking about plants that talk. Yeah, we didn't have enough time to really elaborate into those kind of things, yeah. And we was talking about that plant. Remember the plant, what I was saying, that, did they call it a prayer plant?
What? Prayer plant.
Prayer plant.
The one that closes at night.
The one that closes in the night.
And it opens in the
morning. And they go...
Yeah. There's loads of...
That was one of the most frightening thing. One of the experience I had, I said last week, that when I heard that noise, that all night, and I'm looking, I'm thinking, there's something in the house, and I'm panicking because I know I can hear it. I said, a cockroach, what is this? And it was the plant. And from that, I just started to see nature in a different way.
Magical, isn't
you understand? And they got plants that eat spiders and eat things. There's plants that eat rats as well. There is. Yeah.
Okay.
There's a plant. This guy got a plant, but what he has to do, he has to feed it with rats.
Is it does it look like an aloe but really massive? Is it got really thin?
No.
Because we in where I'm from in Africa, Angola, we have a carnivorous plants. That's you can only find it in the desert, and he attracts his prey by the scent that it gives out as well. And then once the prey comes in, but it's huge. It's about 3-4 meters tall.
So if you fall in, it can eat you too.
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Should we try? You want to try?
4 meter plant.
Yeah, the leaves that it can grow because they're not disturbed. They're in the desert, so
they can just grow and grow and grow and grow.
Yeah,
4 meters.
It's massive. It's like they're massive. The leaves go. God knows, they just That
means you can fall in it if anything in it. I know there's a plant that it looks like a upside down bell.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. It looks like an upside down bell, and it grows like a vine, like grapes.
Yeah.
But it's got 1 or 2 here and there. It's not like loads and loads of them. You find so what happened? You have to feed it with rats or fly, like rats, mice, anything, and it drops in there, and then it closes. You know what I mean? Because the mice, how it stays, because it's like a bell, anything that falls in it can't get out because you got to turn around.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
so you can't turn around to get out. Yeah, and because it's sticky, you're stuck. It's like a bit like the cactus fly plant. Yeah. So it's a bit like that, but a king size version. And the rats, they eat the rats. They eat the rats. Them. They're not literally physically eat it, but it just squashes it and brings it down. No bones or nothing's left behind. Everything gone. Okay. You like plants, don't you?
I like.
I'm gonna get you one of those.
Okay.
Just in case.
With the worms.
No. Don't get one of them, because if you got mice in your house, it's good to have a plant.
I don't have mice in my house.
No, I'm just saying, if somebody got mice in their house, it'd be good to have a plant that eat them.
Okay.
I think. Is that a cruel thing to say? Is that
no, but you know what? Why not? I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? There's a
recycling them.
Yeah, there's a purpose for everything.
Killing them, give them to the plant.
If your man troubles you, you know what to do. Get in one of those plants, yeah? Make sure.
No. Bleep. There's a bell. No.
I can't help myself.
No.
That's it.
You
Just
hear that,
shut, don't say nothing.
She's gonna get a plant for you, you know. It's good. You know what?
No, but I can't do that now. He's heard it.
Okay, that's.
That plant won't last long.
Oh,
you wouldn't know, man. You wouldn't know. But you know how women do something. You're the last one to know anyway. That's how it goes. That's them by nature.
Just keep one eye open. That's all I'm saying.
All right, make I talk to my brethren and see what go on. Right. Yes, so we're talking about all different kind of plants, letting you know, say, yeah, you have to treat the plants then with respect, because if you don't, it's not going to be a good thing. You know what I mean? Because they do talk to each other. That's what it was yesterday.
That's what I was gonna say, yes.
Right, that's it.
Go back to that.
Right, that's your microphone. I'm going to
make sure you talk to the mic and not to the plant.
Yeah, I twist my plant around the other day. But yeah, plants talk.
Yes, they do.
Yes, they do.
They communicate with each other, yes.
Yes. So don't be doing certain things and think the plant don't see it. And even when it comes to scriptures, yeah, the scriptures say that the Most High will go to the rocks, and the rocks themselves will bear witness against you. Rocks, you know. So that means, do rocks talk too?
I don't know about that. I can't believe this. I don't know. Is a rock a living? It's not, is it? But somehow
yes.
It has. Yeah. Here we go.
I agree too.
Right. You think is a living?
You got to switch your mic on, yeah.
Is a living?
Are crystals alive?
Yes.
All right, fair enough. They're not alive, but they give out energy. I don't know, you know. That's like, I mean, they hold properties in itself, innit? Okay.
But it's still a form of a rock, though, isn't it?
I know about plants, and I know. Oh, explain to me.
Everything's alive.
Everything.
Okay, fair enough.
All right.
Fair enough, but a rock.
All right then.
I know they hold history, but are they alive?
All right. I'm gonna give you a scenario about rocks that are alive. I'm gonna talk to both of you. All right. All right. Introduce yourself. What's your name? What's your name? We'll call him brother.
Mr. Freeman.
Mr. Freeman on the land.
Well, not really a Freeman on the land. It's more from the spook who sat by the door.
All right. It's Mr. Freeman. Yeah. Right. If you're gonna laugh, just laugh, Reggie. Not a holy thing. You know what I mean? There's no holy thing right here. Just if you're gonna laugh, you laugh.
You see his face as well, like proper proud. Yeah. You know. Okay.
Of course.
Hi, Mr. Freeman. How you doing?
Yes. See, so that's how it is. See, she want bust out her laughing, and she's trying to be decent and hold it in. You know what I mean? Till her strawberry cheeks couldn't take no more. It had to come out, man. You know what I mean?
My name, by the way, yeah, strawberry.
All right. Back to you. Where was we now?
Freeman from the land.
No.
Those
stones and the rocks,
yes.
them. So all right. No, I was going to give him a scenario, both of you. That's it. In Jamaica, you have this rock. Yeah? I'll tell everybody who know about the rock, yeah? You got a rock. It's actually, there's more than one of them, but there's one of them is a rock and one of them is a tree. Yeah? Similar situation. You got a rock on one side of the road and another rock on the other side of the road. You also have a tree on one side of the road and another tree not too far away from it. These trees have, what do you call it? Body parts. They have, one of the trees a penis and the other tree is the vagina.
Really?
It looks
what,
the shape of the tree. The shape of the tree, yeah. And the tree, the man tree is trying to get across the road to the other rock. This, you can actually see it. It's a real tree.
If I Google it, I will see pictures of these trees. these trees.
Yes, it's only one tree. It's not this tree.
Oh, it's okay.
It's not what you can't go there, and women ain't allowed to go there.
Why not?
I want to joking.
Okay.
Yeah, what you want to go there for? You're too nosy. No, to look at the trees, okay. Or to get some worms.
No,
Yeah, Jamaican worm. Get some
context.
Jamaican worms. It's good, right? So, the point of the matter, what I'm trying to show to you is this. There's one tree on the other side, and there's the other tree on the other side. The tree on this side is trying to get across the road, literally. Yeah, I don't know how it happened, but there's also a rock
In the middle. Where?
in Jamaica
No, I know, but where's the rock in positioned?
on the ground, innit?
Obviously, but where in between the tree on the side of the tree?
No, this is somewhere else.
Ah, okay. So
Right, so there's one place where there's a tree, and there's another place where there's a rock. Yeah, and on the other side there's another rock. See, so I'm just trying to show you in nature there's certain things, even in the rocks, that I have to question and say to myself, rocks are alive. Rocks are alive. Definitely alive. Mountains, some of them are alive. Some of them, not all of them. Some of them are alive.
that's the next question. Are rocks alive?
Nah, you'd be surprised, right? Because like what I just said, that part there. What do you have anything you have to say about the rocks? Because you're saying the rocks are alive too. Why are you saying they're alive?
Mike.
I believe everything's alive. Everything in this reality is alive.
Everything.
Yeah.
Everything is a living thing.
Until it's dead. I mean, I suppose things can die. But I don't believe rocks live and die the same way as a tree would.
See, but everything dies and recycle and come back again in another shape or form. So back to the rocks now. There is some rocks which we think are rocks, or mountains, which we think are mountains, but they're not.
Sleeping
Mountains.
Beauties, yeah?
Huh?
Who are they? Sleeping Beauties?
Yeah. Right. What
Sleeping
some of them are.
giants.
Yes. What they are. Some of them mountains and rocks are the actual giants that came to the earth in the beginning of the creation. Some of the giants that came to the earth, people might think, oh, these giants are 50 foot high and this and no. These giants were, we would be next to their foot.
What?
We would be up to their feet. We would be on their feet. We'd be down there. Living giants used to be on the earth, and that's how big they were. This is my research showed me this. That the giants then was that big, massive. They also got a tree. That's some trees that are on the earth. You'd like this part, yeah?
Redwood?
No, redwood is not a tree.
Okay.
Those are not a tree. What we call forests today are not forests.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, what we call forests today is, in our term today, would be grass and bush.
Okay.
I'm talking about the forests.
Yeah.
We would see that as grass and bush in the back end of the day, because the air was different. So because the air was different, the plants can grow bigger.
Yes. Yes.
So the trees them used to be like even a mile high, maybe more. That's how tall the trees were at that time. The trees, there's evidence of these trees still on the earth, but they chopped them. But they don't know how somebody chopped these trees down, because if these trees, the stump is about, the width of the tree is about over a mile. Right, that's how wide the tree is.
And we're talking about ancient times here.
Yes. Now so if the stem of the tree is about a mile, how tall is that tree?
Yeah.
This is why they say these trees must be about 5 miles high, or 10 miles, or 20 miles, or however tall these trees were. But these trees existed, and there's evidence of these trees. See, now if a tree is that tall, somebody's going to have to eat the fruit off that tree.
And how big is that fruit?
And how big is that person?
Oh.
Right, that's the first thing. Now,
I wonder how big the worms were back then. Sorry. I couldn't help myself.
all right then. Well, the worms, yeah. If a tree is that big, that means Right. So
Wow.
that's the tree. I know that. But I've actually seen. If you got to look at the video footage of this tree, yeah, you know about this. This is the tree. That's the tree. That's one of them. Who chopped that tree down? That's the question. The top of it is flat. That means somebody chop it down. Who chopped that tree down?
This is ridiculous. It's like a mountain, isn't it?
And the man is like down there on that tree. Because if you look at the size of that tree, is there a man near that tree so you can see actually how big that tree
there's
is?
a tree. There's trees next to the tree, which the trees that today's trees, and they look like you said like grass. In comparison to that tree, they look like little,
right,
like grass.
So the guy that chopped down that tree is the guy that you need to find. Because he's got the biggest worms.
Yeah, innit?
Yeah, he knows where they are.
You need an apprentice.
No, man, I think he might nyam you because the way that guy is big, the way that guy is big, yeah, and tall, yeah. So now, when these guys fed off of those size trees, because that means if the tree is about 5 miles high, the fruit is in his hand, yeah.
Size of a car.
Bigger than a car. So you have to, when you look at the estimate of the tree and somebody comes to eat off that tree would be naturally a bit bigger than the person who's going to be eating off the tree. Or the tree would be taller than the person that's going to be feeding off of the tree. Right. So that person could be even a mile high if the tree is 5 miles high, because you got to be able to reach the tree to eat the food. Yeah. Or something like that.
I'm saying the fruit be like big as large as a car.
Right. So when those guys die, what happens to them?
What happens?
No one ain't gonna bury them.
No, they're
too big.
Eaten, isn't it?
Right. So what happens is this: some of these people, they turn into fossils, and some of them turn into stone, and which we have mountains. Now, enough of the islands that we live on nowadays, I personally realize there's so much connection with animals and human bodies that we're not looking at this. Now, I could break it down quickly. The map of Africa, what does it look like?
What does it look like? What does it look like?
You have eyes to see and can't see.
Like an afro head. I don't know. What does it look like?
Alright, this is what it looks like. Alright, this is the way
it's like a face, isn't it?
Right.
It's a face. It's a face. Yeah.
Alright, look at this. Imagine, can you see a Rasta man? With his hat on?
Face. No, I can't.
Oh, gosh. That's the peak of his hat. That's his nose. That's his mouth. That's his chin.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I can see an Afro woman.
Right. Even a queen, empress. Yeah. The chin, the lips. That's the lips. That's the nose, the eyes, and that's the wrap.
The wrap.
So either way, it's still a head.
Yes, that's right.
Africa has always been the head of the planet from the beginning. Yeah. No matter what happens, that's why we say Mother Africa, because the African head, which is the African queen with a wrap on. When you look at the map of Africa, if you can't see an African queen, you can't see Africa.
Yeah.
You understand? If you can't see an African king with his turban on, then you can't see Africa. And it's there. Now I say to myself, where's the rest of the body?
Good question.
If that's the head, and it clearly looks like a head to me, where's the rest of the body?
Yes.
More example now. Jamaica, this wonderful island that they call paradise. List of countries: Jamaica, Australia, Turkey. Right, that's just three that I could just think of randomly, yeah? If you take these countries on the map and turn them on their side, you will see what they are. If you turn the map of I'll leave Jamaica till last. If you turn the map of Turkey on its side, it looks like a literal turkey. Yeah? Australia looks like a koala bear. See? Jamaica, which they say is the land of the Taínos or Arawak Indians, if you turn the map of Jamaica on its side, it looks like an Indian.
Really?
But I'm just trying to show you. These are the things that I've sat down and worked out amongst myself. So I'm saying, so where's the rest of the body?
That's a good concept, though. I do like that.
Right. Now we're going to simplify and look at the land and the mountains and the landscapes of the mountains.
Yes.
There was a time on the earth where something happened, sudden impact, something happened on the earth that made a lot of things turn to fossil and stone. I don't know what happened, but I know something happened. There is so much rocks and mountains that are literally giants. But we're walking on these mountains and don't realize you're walking on a giant that turned into fossils. Yeah? And people can turn into fossils without even waiting thousands and thousands of years, because there's fossils out there of man's foot, if they're found in the sand somewhere. His foot is in a boot, but his foot turned to stone. But the boot was still there. The boot's still a boot, but the foot inside the boot was solid rock.
How big was this boot?
Man size, your size,
size,
ordinary
okay.
person's foot.
Really?
Yeah. So when we're looking at all of these things, that these nature can turn flesh into stone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm.
Now, if nature can turn flesh into stone, what happens to the rest of the organs in the body of that giant that turns into stone?
Yeah.
So this is now how you get these things which we call crystals.
Okay.
Some of them are the blood, some of them are different, because in your body you got different colors and different iridiums and all the different stones. So that means if all of this turns to stone, that will explain why you get certain crystals, because certain crystals will represent certain organs of that body, of that thing at that time, which we wear around our neck, or for healing energy, like which certain crystals are pink, which would more or less represent the heart. So we could be using that as the heart of that particular giant, or it could be, you can go so far as it could be the blood cell. There's a massive blood cell which we call a crystal, because some of them are round, like an egg. What is that? That's a fossil. That could be a fossil blood cell, because the way it is on the outside and the way it is on the inside is like a blood cell or a massive egg. Like if a woman has a certain amount of eggs, there's only a certain amount of them there are, but it's an egg shape. Some of the crystals, until you break them, then they shatter them into pieces. So I'm saying, are we really wearing a lot of giants' body parts?
I don't know.
Without even realizing you're walking around with a lot of dead people things on you, yeah? Creating this energy from these things, not even realizing, is it really a crystal or is it a fossilized part of somebody or something's body? My brethren, free man, we share the information with you.
Yes.
Right, and you.
Oh, yes.
Right, because you love plants.
I do.
But as I said, we go back home and we're walking on people and don't even realize we are walking on people. We're looking at mountains and people living on mountains, but have you really had to look at the shape of the mountain? Have you ever really looked at you're walking on top of a pregnant woman who was fossilized, because you can see her belly and her breasts and her head if you stand back and look at the mountain? Some of these mountains are so clearly human faces that they don't let the world know. I'm glad we're on the internet talking about this. All those who are listening, you know, you're getting a something today that I don't normally give you, but I'm going to share a little information with you, because knowledge is power. So some of these people don't realize that there is so much giants around us on the land that we, the media, do not show it, because it will prove, number one, that the Bible is not old, and it will also prove that, oh, Moses is how much thousand a year, the earth is so thousand years old. It will knock it all out the window. So they're not going to reveal their little scam, their little lies. They tricked everybody into living in this little, how much, 1,000 years on the planet, when it's been billions and billions and billions of years. So I'd like to share that little journey with you. And make sure you look out for the mountains in Africa, because you might be looking at a female giant or a male giant, a bird, an eagle.
I like it.
You can find.
That was a good concept, a good story. I wasn't aware of some of the facts that you just shared, or some of the knowledge
because
that you just shared.
The scripture says they have eyes to see but don't see. They have ears to hear but don't hear. Everything that is created is right in front of your face, but you can't see it. Even the air you breathe in, you can see it if you really look.
Want to see it well.
But you don't look.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Which is called a firmament. What in a firmament?
What's your input on this, Freeman?
It's I've never thought about it before, but I don't doubt it. I don't dismiss it.
Mm.
There's proof. There is, if you, as I said, I've had time to research within this past month because of what's happening with radio and this and that, and I've realised all of us has jumped forward, like some quantum jump, but we're not used to the journey. We're not used to where we are at the moment, but we all have come forward in such a leap. We're just getting to understand that we've all moved forward. If you understand what I'm saying, it's like we've all had a quantum push. Everybody who is somebody spiritually connected to this thing has been pushed forward. Whether you want to accept it or not, or whether you want to live your old life and be your old self and love your old things, when those things can't work where we are now. You understand? So, for example, your connection with nature and all that stuff will be so much deeper now than ever before. That you're taking this thing to the extreme. But before,
actually,
you never used to do that.
That's used
because you've been pushed. All of us, and you've been pushed. Everybody's been pushed. But some of us, because we're still eating the same food, we're still watching the same films, we're still doing the same routine. How can you move forward if you're still putting the same petrol in the car? Your engine's been upgraded, but you're still using petrol when it's unleaded now. Relax. Now you need to have unleaded, cleaner fuel for the vehicle because the engine's been changed while we were sleeping. You understand? And we go up, know the engine's been changed, but still put the old petrol in the car. So this is where we kind of like, we need to wake up and realize we don't know nothing. That is it. What we think we know is nothing compared to what there is to know. You understand? So that's why we had to get this push forward so that we can know something that we never would have accepted before. Now we can say, yeah, we've got internet, we can research it. But before, 10, 20 years ago, tell me about giants and crystals. I say, yeah, obia man, and with all these crystals around your neck, we used to be suspicious of these things. And now we know the purpose because but now we've moved again. But we're still eating the same food. We're still talking to each other the same way. You understand? We haven't changed with the spirit. So this is where we're all at. And we need to realize you cannot, what I'm saying? Pour new wine into old bottles. You understand? Because it will crack the bottle. Or they say the bottle, but it's not the bottle. It's wine skin. Yeah. Parables, you put new wine into old wineskin, the wineskin's going to fall apart. But we are the new wine, as scripturally speaking, which I will call it, we are awake. And we are the new wine, and we are now still trying to put this new wine in the same old bottle that we've been carrying. We need to detox, clean our minds, create a new wineskin within ourselves. And then we can now see the new wine and taste the new wine and feel the new wine, but we won't get drunk on it because we actually know what it is. But some people will get drunk on this knowledge and this leap because they're not cleaning up their vessel and their mind to go with the wine that's coming. So they're going to get drunk.
Like crazy,
Yeah. And that's what's happening.
Yes,
because
exactly what's happening.
That's what's happening. They've all excelled. They've all got this new wine. They've all got this, me. And they're all getting drunk with the wine of violence. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that knowledge.
And that's what it is.
Freeman, you want to say something?
I was just going to add to the car analogy.
Yeah, go on.
Because whilst you said that people are going around from leaded to unleaded, but at the same time, there's certain people on the planet that's just going around on water.
Oh, what, the empty vessels?
Bikes and cars that are running on water into certain parts of the world. And a lot of people don't even understand, they don't know it, they don't even understand it. So whilst you're going around,
you're actually being serious. Okay, sorry. That was an analogy. I'm like,
people think they're good by going from leaded to unleaded, but at the same, we could be going around on water.
Right, even what you're saying there now, which is a good analysis, because now you're saying water. Now those are the cream of the crop. You understand? Those are the vegans. Them. Those are the ones that's living off of Mother Earth and connected off of the Mother Earth, other cars that are running on water. Remember, your body is like a vehicle. So if we classify ourselves as cars and vehicles, some of us are running on petrol.
So that's Purity. That's
Aye.
purity to the.
They step totally out of the game.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to no petrol station to get their their fuel. They've gone out of the game and they're doing their own thing. But they're invisible to a lot of to the rest of society.
Yes.
You don't understand it can even be done. More or less, no, it's an option to be done.
You can go deep. You can go so deep that you don't really need to eat food. Because you don't really need to eat food. If you want to take it to that extreme.
Breatharians, of course.
Yeah, you can do that. But as I said, I'm glad you brought up the water thing, because that's where we need to be eventually to live off of the earth. And those are the cars what are water, run by water, like the brethren said. I say a lot of you are running on petrol, and some of you need to just realize now it's unleaded time, to keep it simple. We'll go to the water time. Some of you can't angle the vegan, yeah, and you will go mad because you're going to be walking past McDonald's and cracking a box and you want to eat it and you have to hide and eat food. Brethren, if you have to hide and eat, then just don't bother hide. It don't make no sense. The only person you're lying to is yourself. You're not fooling nobody. You understand? So
how would you suppose someone can begin, especially someone who's been called to start that process of
detoxing,
decluttering, how would you
where do you begin?
Yeah, where do you begin? Because you know what you have to do. Many of us, I'm talking generally, know what we have to do. It speaks to us, it's constantly talking to us. I know that there's this discipline that has to come into place here, but how do we begin it? Because it's like exercising. You know that you have to exercise, or you have to work out, you have to maintain your whatever. But how do you push yourself? Because you are your worst enemy.
Your mind. All right, give an example. You want a pair of shoes. What kind of pair of shoes you want?
I like barefooted.
This one, you want to go to a party. You want a pair of shoes.
Okay.
You don't say the wedding's coming up in next year.
Yes.
Summertime.
Your wedding?
No.
Oh.
Yeah. Somebody else's wedding.
Okay.
Yeah. Next year, summertime.
And sandals.
You need a pair of shoes, so you're going to plan what you're going to wear. But you think about these things before you get it. All right, then. Even go deeper than that. You got a place you're living in. When you first got that place, it was empty. What did you want in that place before you moved in?
The normal bed,
this,
mattress.
that, right. And you knew what kind of bed you wanted. You knew what kind of this and that. Now, have you got all of these things now?
I've got too many of these things. I'm trying to get rid of it.
Right, but you got it all though.
Yes.
But it originated from a thought.
Yes.
And you thought about it, you visualized it, and you executed it.
That's right. I planned it.
So that's what everything is. Once you think about it, and you visualize it, and you execute it, and say, "This is the new me. This is me." Not even the new me, the real me.
The real me.
Yeah, because half of us is fake. You understand? And half of the food we're eating is fake. So how can we be real if half of our food is GM? We can never function on our full potential until we go back home. And then we start eating off the trees and the land. We start firing up. That's me. That's when I'm alive, living. Come back here, no one can't tell you nothing until you start adapting again, and this process of deterioration.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and then you become what Babylon wants you to be, comfortable in Egypt. So everything is about thought. So when you think about something, even if you can't do it, you have to think about you doing it. Doesn't matter how you get there. You know what I mean? I want to be a football player, but I don't like I can't play football. But I can see me scoring. And I just keep visualizing this thing of where I want to be. And eventually you will be there because you are your own thoughts. You create who you are. So when you go into a judgment with the Most High, the judgment is just because it's all you that did it. You understand? And all the wrong things you've done and all the lies you're telling and all this, you know you did it to you. You understand? Well, what you do to others, you also do to yourself, because we're all connected. So don't think you're going to harm this guy or harm this girl and think, say, okay, I've left her or left him and that's the end of that. Nope. That pain, what you put with each other, is going to come back to you one way or another, because you're connected. It's still energy. So we can create what we want with our thoughts. We are in the situation we are because we love to do what we do.
Would be a costume to do what we do.
Yeah, but we love to do what we want to do, because if you wanted to be a millionaire, you could have pursued that. But because you love the earth, you have to make a sacrifice.
Okay, and that's okay.
You understand? So that means, say, you're doing what you want to do. You could be rich, you could be a model, you could do all these things, But no, I'd rather get my hands dirty and hunt down worms. You understand what I'm saying?
That's right.
Because
Say it again.
that's what you like to do. You understand? My
That's
virgin
right.
here, he's doing what he wants to do because that's what he enjoys doing. But if we really was to get off our ass and say, "Make we take over this place," yeah, we could do it. But we don't really want to do it because we're laid back and we like the earth.
Yes.
You understand? We're connected to the reality, real world. You understand? The real things of life.
Yes.
So, in saying that, we are what we think about. So you can change if you want to change. If and this is why people say that I say, what happened to people? Why are they covering up these things? I can't do it. Listen, if somebody in your life says to you, or you have a conversation and say, yo, this is not going right, I had this, I had enough, this or that, when that person walks away and leaves you, yeah, they're gone. When that person walks away and leave you, you tend to get to know yourself and know how much you check for that person, but you don't know until that person's gone. And when that person's gone, you said, why, it wasn't that easy to leave like I thought, brethren. I'm stuck. How do I get myself into this? How do I get out of this? I can't get out of this because I want to be with her, but I can't stand her. And all these things come through your head that you don't know what to do. Boy, you're stuck. You're not stuck. It's where you're meant to be. You understand? It's where you're meant to be. So that's what it is. I was going to go a bit deeper into that, but it's where you're meant to be. You know, sometimes you want to move on and you can't move on. You're connected. We're definitely connected. You make me forget the thing, you know.
How do people make the change into something else?
And
I think
they can. When somebody leaves you, as I was saying to the brethren, free man, when somebody leaves and this and that, you can decide to say, well, I'm done. And you go back your business. Left. 2, 3, 4, 5 days, you realize you're connected.
You're missing them.
Yeah. So what happened now? You know what needs to be done to make it work. No matter how puff up or how much ego you want to have, you know.
One of those plants,
yeah. You know what you have to do. No matter how much, if you're an alcoholic or a drunkard or whatever you may be, junkie, anything you may be, if you love that person more than the issue, and you sit there and say, you know what, man, they say, oh, I want her back, I'll do anything. Oh, I want him back, I'll do anything, and say anything, and they do it. They actually do it. They actually flip the script, person back in their life. So why can't they use that same mentality and flip the script for their own life? They don't think about that. But in a relationship or life or death situation, people will change overnight. But for their own life, they can't do it. Without them, there is nothing else.
It's true, isn't
So how come you can't get up and just make up your mind like this? This is who I am. And this is what I have to be. And I have to change because I have to work with the current that is flowing. What, as I said to before, where the leaf is on the river, going with the current. You have to go with the flow. You understand? If you go against the flow, what's going to happen?
Well, depends. Sometimes you can bust through, innit?
It's a harder battle, but no matter how it goes, you're going to end up that way down the river. It just depends how long it takes you.
Yeah.
If you want to go with the flow, you get there. If you want to fight against the current, you're still going to get there.
Yeah.
Or hopefully, but it's just going to take years. You might not even live to see yourself get there. You know what I mean?
Let me ask you a question in relation to...
You're going to ask me a question?
Yes, I'm going to be
You
asking
never
the
asked me a
questions.
question before.
Have I not?
No.
Okay. We were talking. I want to touch base on the last topic that we were discussing, which was plant communication. We went from plant
talking to
communication,
plants.
and then we went on to sleeping giants,
Mm-hmm.
and now we're talking about conscious and subconscious in a way. You know, this
The consciousness of plants.
Yeah, well. Yeah.
Oh, just subconscious or consciousness of plants.
You whatever you want it. But I want to ask you the previous question from last week was, do plants communicate?
Yeah.
And I think that is a question that we should go back on and discuss the answer to that. My answer is yes, they do, and I can't wait to tell you how.
All right, hold on. I'm going to ask Freeman first.
Okay,
Yeah.
on.
Because
Why you keep putting the phone down-
because
the thing down?
Freeman have to answer this question because I want to try on him. Freeman, do plants communicate? Yes or no? And if so or not, why?
Yes.
Why?
Yeah.
How? Why? How did you come to this conclusion? Is it? Don't say like a man bought a weed and he was telling me things. You know what I mean? His weed was great. I saw some things and I read them. No, what?
From my research and the stories I've come across, yes, I believe they communicate with each other.
Why?
Why?
Why do they do it?
Yeah.
Or why do I believe it?
Yeah. Why do you believe this? You can't go
Yeah,
around
you
and
can't
say
just say-
walk
exactly.
into
Yeah, because that's it done.
a
Come on,
hospital.
man.
And say, we go to a hospital and say, I know that plants communicate with each other. You know, they'll say, yes, sir, come this way. You understand? So you have to kind of like convince me not to lock you up. Yeah, understand?
Well, it started with a documentary I watched called The
Secret
Secret Life of Plants.
Yeah.
And then since then I've researched a bit more and I've come across more information.
What can you share?
Some
the
of it that I
information?
know Sandy's dying to share about well, I'll let her get to that, the mycelium.
Strawberry, my name is my lovely.
Strawberry would like to share. And then yes, I've had a lot of interesting stories about them. One being from The Secret Life of Plants, how they did an experiment. A guy, he used a lighter, he burnt a plant leaf, and then when he went into another room with plants, they had sensors on them, and the plants reacted to him coming in the room, like they were afraid of him, like they panicked when he came in.
And moved
So these
away
plants,
from him.
yeah, these plants knew that guy was the guy that burnt the other plants.
Is he the guy that gave the guy the black eye?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
go on.
know?
So yeah, stories like that lead me to believe that yeah, of course they communicate.
Well, but have you had do you had any experience with any kind of plant to say if they communicate or have you ever acknowledged any plant in any way more than just a plant?
Oh yeah, looking after plants, I've seen them happy and sad. But
So you like to get your hands dirty too?
No, he doesn't. Gosh.
I don't like to, but I do
no,
it.
he
though,
doesn't.
yeah.
No, he does it really badly.
But
Wait till
yeah,
he's
they
sleeping and just rub dirt on his hands. And then and when he wake up and see them, he will say, "What is this?"
How did that little rumble thing going on?
No. It could be an allergy. You know what I mean? So it's go to a little bit of dirt.
You know, we should discuss
Right.
some more tips.
Yeah, but sometimes you have to get people to use. Back in our ancestors never had no choice but to do these things, but to plant, whether they liked it or not. We lucky we got a choice to say, you know what?
Yeah. Do you know what?
I don't like digging.
What bothers me, I have to say, is that all these people that want to eat the food but they don't want to do the work behind growing the food, yeah, and they don't want to get themselves dirty. Really? Come on, man. Freeman, what you got to say about that?
I understand that.
He's looking for
He
trouble,
mucked it
right?
up.
I was actually talking about him, yeah. You're looking for trouble, yeah. Stop lying about you understand that. You understand. Oh, you understand that. Not understand that. You're such a
Man, such a man.
So let me buy
Such
you that
a
plant
wonderful
anyway. Let me
man.
buy you that plant, yeah. When's your birthday?
Can't disclose that right now.
Well,
Yeah,
don't worry,
yeah.
because I know. I
Alright.
got you on my black book, yeah. I'm going to buy you that plant to eat your life when you're sleeping.
There's some plants that eat people though. Yeah, I know. That doesn't mean say they could commit murder though. You
No,
can't be
it
giving
wasn't me.
Can't give the plant, the man to the plant.
Front page of the next the newspaper
Right.
is your plant beer.
So even back to the communication of plants now.
Yeah.
You showed me something last week, which I'm saying like the plants talk to us, and we don't realize that they're speaking to us. Yeah, that's why I kind of like got into this thing a little bit more. Then I ended up into the mountains and the this and the that and everything.
right.
I went through a whole heap of things so that I can
Yeah.
have a nice conversation with you today. But Pearls was supposed to get the beating and she's not here, so
It's fine.
you know.
So
What I mean?
it was meant to be. It was meant to be.
Right.
But I will. May I share?
Mm-hmm.
So plants communicate. I'll go back. Plants communicate with us, and they communicate. From my knowledge, they definitely communicate with each other, and they communicate with each other through this web of communication under the surface of the earth. That's called mycelium. People, mycelium. Yeah. So mycelium is a fungus, really, that runs under the surface of the earth.
Oh, you mean the Madridium line, something like that.
Mycelium, yeah.
Madridium.
Mycelium.
No.
Yes.
Botrytium.
Mycelium. Are we talking different language? Potato.
Ley lines.
Yes.
Right.
Under the surface. No. It's not ley lines. No, it's
The
mycelium.
Botrytium line.
No. We're talking about fungus.
Fungus. It's
Oh,
a fungus.
fungus.
It's a web of fungus that is under the earth. You see when you pick something up, sometimes you see that white. It looks like what does it look like?
Spider web. Cobweb.
Yeah, it looks like a web. It looks like a.
Yeah, so that thing there. Yeah, what
That's
about
how
that?
they communicate
Who
with each
communicate
other.
with that?
What the plants do with each other. So you can have one plant in Africa and one plant in Jamaica, and they will talk to each other through that web of communication, which is where the matrix, it comes from. I think, in my belief, that the whole, thing, the whole, we look at the way that the matrix today's society. We look at the internet. We look at the way that your brain, the points in your brain and how your brain is, the structure of your brain. It all is pretty much similar. It's the same. It's the same structure. Is that
Okay.
is that web of is a web.
I'm glad you said the plant, like how you're connecting the earth now, like a brain. Like the brain is like a map of
It
electrons
is.
and
That's what it
stuff.
is. That's what
Yeah.
it is.
Right, so that's the brain, yeah. But there's also there's so much things going on with this earth to make me believe, not even believe, I know that this earth is alive, literally alive, and it knows what's going on, and it knows what everybody's doing
Yes.
to the earth. It's just a matter of time before the earth decides to get rid of
Yes. And when it
those
does,
who want to destroy the earth. You
it
understand?
knows everything.
So you got the earth that's not pleased with what's going on. You got the air that's not pleased with what's going on. You understand? And you got the sky that's not pleased with what's going on. And this kind of man, because they're not mankind, because there's no kindness in them. So I don't know how them say mankind. These man them is trying to destroy the earth because these man them are not a part of this earth. These man them cannot connect to the earth. They do not relate to the earth. So if a man's going to destroy his house, that means say him not love him house. So that means that this is not his house. That's why he's destroying it and chopping down all the trees and polluting all the waters, because this is not
Poisoning.
his house. This is our house. You understand? And these guys wanted to evict us from day one. You understand? From the time they're moving, they want to evict us out of our house. This is our house. You understand? That's why we're connected to the earth. But we have to do something for the earth. I mean, when I say we have to do something for nothing, when I say there's nothing, we can, but the earth and the elements has got so much power that it can just deal with anything just like that. You understand what I'm
That's
saying?
true. Well, that's the last case scenario.
That's the last
innit?
case
If
scenario.
we don't back ourselves up.
It's
that's
not us,
exactly-
it's them. It's them, guide
Yeah,
them.
but we have a collaboration. We have a duty as beings in this borrowed time to fulfill our purpose, right?
Which is part of what?
Well, I know what my purpose is. I can planting my plants and whatnot, but everyone's got a purpose. Everyone has a task. Another.
I think you're good at. I think what you're doing is good because you're actually letting people understand that there is a relationship with us and the earth.
There is,
Yeah, and we can have a relationship with the earth and with the plants. So in a way, you're kind of needed in this matrix to make people realize we are connected to these things, whether we like it or not.
Yes.
And we eat these things to survive.
Yes.
So do you not love the things you eat?
We eat it to
Yeah.
survive.
You understand?
We use it for our own benefit in many ways. We were talking about the clothing and what sort. We use it to make us feel good about ourselves mentally, psychologically. You know, being around it, breathing the air. Watching, I mean, even just watching a bee going into a plant and pollinating, there's beauty in it.
The bee pollinating.
Yes. What's going on with you?
I'm gonna. Oh yeah, there's another. There's a part of the show where we kind of keep it real.
Yes.
Yeah, because obviously because you're a guest here today, and you're in her seat. I can't say what I normally would say.
Which is good.
No.
No. It
No.
is. But I'm saying the natural things that we take for granted, that we see every day, that we don't actually acknowledge, but it all has a purpose. And sometimes when you're feeling, all right, on the real, if you're feeling a little bit low about yourself, and you take a walk down to the marshes or down to the canal or the river, and you happen to see a little ducky mummy, ducky children, or ducky ducklings or whatever, all of a sudden you're gonna see beauty in that. But yes, if you were walking past the marshes to go to work or go and meet a friend, you completely miss that.
So it means when you're depressed, you go to the river and look at these things.
I won't say when I'm depressed. No, that's not what I do. When I need a little bit of tuning in,
You just go for a walk.
I go, not just a walk. I need to be around water. Personally,
Water,
that's me.
the current again. Water is current.
Yeah, I need to cleanse myself and I just need to be around water.
I noticed there's a lot of things to do with water, right? Even in my family, I've noticed that the grandchildren kind of thing, they got this thing about water. These young children, they got this thing about water, where they just using a lot of water for some reason. They just connecting to water. I've noticed that a lot for some reason. It's happening. I'm saying, water's going too quick in this house. What's going on? Why is all the water moved? So I'm saying they got something to do with water. They're doing something. Water is a powerful element, and you know that water can be programmed and all of this stuff. You're familiar with the programming of water.
Yes.
So
It goes deep.
what you're doing is very necessary, because, as I said, people need to know their connection to nature, to the earth.
Thank you.
So maybe you should write a book or something.
I really want to.
Yeah.
It's something that I wanted to do it as a child, but I didn't know what I'll be writing about, because I just remembered as a child.
I know someone who can help you.
Who's that? Okay, you can tell me after.
Yeah, I know someone who can help you
As-
write a book.
as-
He's one of the DJs.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he wrote his first book.
Nice one.
Yeah.
What an achievement. Well done, him.
Nah, he actually done the metaphologies of words.
Oh my gosh, here we go. That's proper deep, innit?
That's
I
his
love
first
that.
book.
Wow.
He used
For
to
first book.
That's his very first book. He used to live in a car.
Okay.
He had nowhere to live, and he was living in a car. You understand what I'm saying? And he excelled from that, and then come on the radio, and he's written his book.
Yeah.
His book sold off.
Well done.
That's
him.
from somebody who started from. So he can give you his journey of how he wrote his book, which you need to understand that journey before you do write a book.
That's how I would
You
love to do
understand?
that.
So you need to ask somebody who's been at the rock bottom
Yeah.
and and the book became successful. You don't want to listen to somebody who wrote a book, but yet they still got boxes of them pile up.
No.
They're
I've
doing
still
something
think-
wrong.
I think when the time comes, I'll definitely do something.
Jammers,
trying to
yeah,
work
that's
in
the
that-
bread.
work out
Yeah, I can let you guys talk,
Yeah.
or even arrange a show where you can
Discuss about
discuss
the
the
book.
thing about book writing, because that's a nice topic still.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would. Yeah, and we talk about that quite a lot, innit,
Yeah.
man?
Yeah, so he's the guy who started. He's a guy who can deal with that. There's other people available, but it's good that you talk to Jammers, because, as I said, he started from rock bottom, and now he's where he is now. I mean, he's got his own yard. He can do what he wants to do. He's got his job now. His books are sold out. You know what I mean? He's where he needs to be in his
Mhm.
life.
Yeah.
So,
Can I share something with you guys before we go? Because I need to.
Mhm.
It's a story from yesterday, just in nature, because you mentioned car. It has nothing to do with car. What I'm
Mhm.
gonna say, but it has to do with homeless.
mm,
So yesterday we went to put some fuel in the car, myself and my son,
mhm,
my boy, and as we come out the car, we see this homeless. Not homeless, but this guy that was begging, black guy,
Mhm.
Afro.
mhm.
You know, he seemed to be okay, but there was something about him. And my son straight away said, Mummy, remember this is the guy that you bought coffee for last time?
Mhm.
Because we went there before. And he asked me if I could buy him something. And I said, yeah, I'll buy you, I won't give you money, but I'll buy you something.
Mm.
And so again, he went straight to the guy and he went, oh, I remember you. My mummy bought you coffee last time.
Mhm, mhm.
Anyway, the guy was really nice. He asked for money, but he was very polite in the way that he asked for money. So on the way out from the actual shop,
Mhm.
gave him a little change. Well, my son gave him a little change. I have to stop him because he goes in my purse and he starts giving changes to anyone who asks him for money. So I can't be working to give out money. But anyway, cut a long story short.
Mhm.
Cut a long story short. As we was driving off, my son just said, "Mummy, stop the car." So I stopped the car thinking, what's he going to do? We just picked some flowers about 10 minutes before, yeah. Guy come out the car, ran to the guy and gave him a flower, yeah. So the guy nearly had tears in his eyes. He just could not believe the love that a child gave to him just by giving him a flower. So there you go. They don't call me flower lady for nothing.
I had a couple of experience with these with the younger ones lately. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of us who's getting this experience where these younger ones are coming to you and doing a little, I don't know, they're communicating with on a love level which is slightly different. You know what I mean? And I've seen that lately, especially children of different nationalities has come to me. You know what I mean? And just want to take a picture with me and stuff like. I don't even know this guy. You know what I mean?
Makes you feel good, yeah.
Yeah. This guy is about. Who was this guy? He was French, little French boy. He's with his mum and everybody. Oh, I want to take a picture with it. I go, why? You know what I mean? But they can pick up things. You know what I mean, that we can't pick up. And I started saying, and I'm not talking about just black boys. I'm talking black girls, black boys, white girls, children. In general, of all different nationalities, are tuning into this. They're in tune to this vibration, and we got to also be in tune to the vibration that they can understand that we are there for them, and they can come to us. You understand? So that was it is. So that's it.
Wrap up.
Right. So people, that was the show. Yeah, it was kind of sudden ending because I just realised their mandate is in wherever they are. I got to plug them in. Hold on, Mr. Sard. Oh. Wherever he may be. This is what happens when people trouble people's things. Alright. Any last closing statement, Freeman? Before we
Yeah, it was interesting.
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah, that's what it is.
So
today.
what about the work that you do?
Well, Mr. Freeman, we can talk about a little bit. Anyway, he says he does all sorts of things. Anything else you want to add before we?
No, I'll add next time.
Okay.
That's a lie, Satil.
No, man, there'll be a next time, man. No problem with that. Okay. So, what we're going to do, we're going to round up the team. We're going to have Freeman come in, yeah, and we're going to talk to Freeman, and we're just going to just talk the thing, man thing, you know what I mean? Man conversation, man to man.
That's fine.
All right, so that this is where you have to end up kick back and relax, let the man them talk about
That's
the man
fine.
things them.
I can
You know
get
what I
to
mean?
rest.
You know what I mean? And that will be that. So people, same time next week, Pearls will be in, and then we'll talk this thing. So, God bless you, guide you, strengthen you with you going out and coming in. From this time forth and forevermore, I'm gonna leave you with this one. Okay, I win. Bless radio. So, same time next week, all time Lady Pearls, hoping have a wonderful time out there. God bless.
The warriors no fear no death, nor any form of terror. Pagan this mistake no man, they'll be sorry. War them a study yes, say them deal with it bloody yes. Gun dog and gun drunk to the senseless. Them say senseless killing and them obvious. Find out say a war them a study yes, say them deal with it bloody yes. Battlefield could a slippery or muddy yes. Deal with them rush because them love him yes. They up on the lava ground, no for them a look to see I'm Magada. Hype and warrior to them have a gun. Tell them say the warriors and naga run. Brave up on the lava ground, no for look to see I'm
Okay. All right. I shall fill in for you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Spiritual Discussion Show with a very tan version of Sard, which is not a very tan version. But this is the Spiritual Discussion Show where we are talking about the Grail message. Yeah?
Yes, we.
All right. And today's topic is
Gratitude.
latitude, gratitude, some kind of tude, yeah? All right. So where you calling from, Brother Sard?
I'm in Germany, northern Germany, in Munster.
Okay. Also, Brother Gregory, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Brussels.
Brussels. All right. So everybody's on board, right? So,
And Brother Reiner too.
oh, Brother Reiner, well, go on, big man. When I say big man, I don't mean big in size, you know. I mean, it could be big in heart, you understand?
Big and hot, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, all right, so I'll let you lot get on with it. So go through, Brother Sard. Let's see what you're talking about today.
Thank you. Thank you, Brother Bless.
Go on.
Okay, dear listeners, you're listening to Bless Radio, as Brother Bless has told us. And the aim of the show is to introduce you to the Grail message in the light of truth by Abrushin. And as Brother Bless mentioned, the topic for tonight is gratitude. And actually, you can join us with any questions or comments. This is a different number for tonight because I'm actually not in the studio. You can contact us on this number, which is 079 39 641 958. That's a UK number, and you can call, text, or use WhatsApp. Well, I prefer it. I will say, yeah, 079 39 641 958. No, it's a UK number, but you can call in Germany. WhatsApp, yeah, WhatsApp, text, or you can. I would prefer not to take calls because it might be difficult to put only online. So just a text. Okay, tonight, as I said, the topic is gratitude. Any questions or comments, you're welcome to join us. But what I want to do first is tell you what is the Grail message. The Grail message, in the light of truth, by Abrushin, is a spiritual knowledge of life. It offers an explanation of the world, a picture of creation on the basis of natural law. Its lectures contain valuable basic elements as a help in life. For through the knowledge mediated, the reader is again brought closer to life and led back to God. The Grail message deals with important fundamental questions of life by explaining in a clear and logical way the automatic working of the laws of nature, the whole weaving of creation, allowing every process to be recognized and thereby the purpose of our whole life. It is directed at the individual and speaks to the innate experiences of the human being, their strengths and weaknesses. Thus, every reader has the opportunity to discover through the intuitive perception if what is stated is the truth. Combining with matter-of-fact reasoning, a complete world picture arises, where there is no separation between the visible world and the great world beyond the five senses, nor any separation between scientific and religious striving for knowledge. I'd like to give you a couple of quotes from the author of the Grail message, Abrushin. The hearer and reader of my lectures should always work within himself, keenly probing and building bridges from one lecture to the other, as well as out into the great and small world happenings. Only then will he be able to understand the Grail message and find that it actually shapes itself into one complete whole without leaving any gap. Again and again in all the happenings, the reader will come back to the basic features. He can explain everything without having to change even one single sentence. The word of the Grail message lives, so that it permits only those people who really carry the honest desire in their souls to find abundantly. All else is automatically rejected by it. For the arrogant and those who seek superficially, the message will remain the book with 7 seals. And I'd like to give one more quote from the author. I wish to fill the gaps which have so far always remained unanswered in the souls of men, and which never leave any serious thinker in peace, if he earnestly seeks for the truth. So, dear listeners, just to remind you again, the topic for tonight is gratitude. And you can contact us on this number. This is for tonight only, because I'm not in the studio tonight. The number to contact us here in the UK number is 079 39 641 958. You can, I would say you can just contact us by WhatsApp, by text or WhatsApp message. And if you're outside of UK, it is 0044 79 39 641 958. So, Brother Gregory, I would like to start with you. And I mean, gratitude. First, can we say what is gratitude, Brother Gregory?
Well, thanks. The question is, what is gratitude? First, one has to look at the scenario where gratitude is applicable. The scenario basically is that you have something which brings you joy or which brings you happiness, and in reciprocity you offer the one who is impacted by this joy offers gratitude as a compensation. So gratitude is more of a compensation, or like a reciprocal activity in acknowledgement of what has brought that particular piece of joy or happiness.
Thank you, Brother Gregory. So the next thing I would like to ask is to Brother Rainer now. Why is gratitude important? Or let's say, yeah. Why is, let's say, true gratitude? I mean, it's such a big topic, this topic, that because now the word thanks is used a lot in common language, and the way it's used, you know, some people are genuine in their statements, some are just doing it out of habit, and others maybe looking for some favor rather than genuine in their, you know, when they say that word thanks or thank you. So Brother Rainer, can you say more about, you know, what is the importance of the saying gratitude, giving gratitude? Is it, why would you have gratitude?
Okay, Brother Sard, thank you for the question. I hope everyone can hear me well. Well, I would say, as the previous, as Brother Greg said, when one man does something good to another man, helps him in that beneficiary could expect gratitude, but he should not, because it's really up to the other person. But one feels somehow that would put things into balance again. If you do something good to someone else, it is very nice, it's a beautiful thing if you receive some gratitude, and it gives you a real uplift. It can give you really an uplift, a wonderful gaze from the other, in acknowledgement, you have helped me out of a very bad situation. So we have, and we are talking now about this relation of the one person to another person, one human being to another human being, and so the one who is doing good is the beneficiary, and the one receiving the goodness from the other one is beneficent. But the beneficiary, the one who does the good, of course, he should never do the good thing in order and calculating that he would get, or he should never do it expecting a compensatory action from the other one. He should never expect gratitude, because it is completely the other person who received the good may for some reason not recognize that good has been done to him, and might often realize it after a long time. And after all, it is a free person still, and you cannot pressure him into gratitude. That would be a gross crime, in fact, to exert that pressure onto the other being. You have to be grateful. Otherwise, you are, how do you say, not grateful?
Ungrateful.
Ungrateful. Either you are an ungrateful little child or you are an ungrateful person. Well, this is the wrong way of the beneficiary. If you do something out of your heart and you want to help someone, that is very good, but you are not allowed to expect gratitude for the other person, especially not over a long stretch of time, which can lead to a kind of enslavement of the other person. So let's be very clear about it. But then once you have received gratitude, you're the recipient of gratitude and you have benefited in some way. Of course, if it's an immediate thing and you have been helped out of a bad situation, you were in dire straits, of course you are grateful and you are so enjoyed that someone gave you that helping hand, and it's normal to say thank you. And that is, of course, a very rewarding thing.
Yes.
In one of the last lectures, we spoke about one person doing harm to another person, and about the whole topic of forgiveness. It's just in this lecture, it's just the opposite. One person something good to another, and that relation to each other. So I think we have highlighted now one
Yes.
aspect. The beneficiary should not demand gratitude. That would be gross infringement on the rights of the other human being. But we must say, like in the last lecture when we spoke, when you do something good, of course, the laws of creation, you always get a reciprocation from the laws of creation, quite independent how the other person reacts. So you will always get a reaction. And you might find that you have been good to a person which is not worth it, but that's a completely different topic, which might even slap your face for your goodness as a thank you. And then definitely you have to learn a few things, that it is not right to be good, to do good towards a wrong person. You should be very when you do good, but you must definitely learn to be good, to do it in the right places, very fast, and with a giving heart, a pure heart, because you want to help. But sometimes you can also give help in the wrong places, and I think where you get complete ungratefulness and slap your face, you have not been good in the right way.
Yes.
It's probably better to put it, you have not done good in the right way, because that person, to be good to that person, you might have to adopt some more stringent or harsher means.
If I can give you an example, what happened to me recently, I helped one of my work colleagues to move house, and I gave my time to him. He asked me if I could help him to move house, so I helped him to load up the van and unload it, and I spent basically half a day of my time to do that, and I wasn't expecting anything back. Just thank you was enough for me, and even if he didn't say thank you, but that's not how he is. Obviously, we are colleagues and we work together, so so that's all I expected, just to thank you at the most. And a few days after, maybe a week later, he gave me a surprise, and he gave me a gift of like a shirt and some things, which I was not expecting at all. And it was a very pleasant expression of gratitude for me. As I said, I wasn't expecting it, and as you said, it makes you, uplifts you. So sometimes it's just beautiful to receive things. Not that, as I say, it can lift you up. And I was actually, and I didn't. If I expected anything, maybe a small thing, I didn't expect him to go this far. So you don't know when you do something out of your heart that what the consequence can be, because I never asked for anything. So I was very, very pleasantly surprised about that. And
so that thank you can be a very uplifting thing. I think
exactly. And then I was when we started, Brother Reiner, the earlier question about is gratitude important, but we also know that some people, we say we should do it from our heart, obviously, when we give gratitude. And then there's others, maybe, well, we'll explore it now. So sometimes people just say thank you, just out of pure politeness, unless you're in a shop and it's just custom to say thank you, either the shopkeeper or the customer, and it's really just a phrase, an expression. So I would like to, and there's more I would like to explore on it, but what do you think about that? Let me go to that question to Brother Gregory. So Brother Gregory, when people just say thank you, purely as a social phrase, with nothing, no real depth in it, just because it's a custom, what sort of effect does that have? That's to Brother Gregory.
Well, the thing is that it's before the word thanks are offered, there must have been some initial interaction, and it's a response to that interaction that brings the word thanks. So it's not just empty, but again, it all depends on the genuineness. If at that particular moment, the attitude and that is the state of mind of the one giving it is genuine, even in those little things, it is still very helpful when you say thank you.
Right.
Because the possibility is there that what's the person who initiated that action, the possibility was there that he or she could not have initiated it. So nothing is taken for granted. And for that action to have come into place and the receiver, benefits from it, elicits some joy in that receiver, which is a state of attitude or a state of the mind, whatever I care to call it, is the receiver that in response is grateful, genuinely grateful, because every little helps that has come his way, he or she is able to appreciate it. So the receiver in return now shows gratitude. It is not just a mere politeness, but it sort of reveals his state of mind or his inner attitude in the way he or she cares to live his everyday life. So it is not merely an everyday use expression, but that returns sort of expresses the inner states of the person who is offering it in return, even in little things.
Thank you, Brother Gregory, for that. There's another thing, again, another sort of example of how we show gratitude, or somebody can show gratitude. So let's say somebody is giving gratitude, but actually they have a motive behind it, a calculating motive, that they want some favor, and so they say, I can't think of a real example right now, but it could be that, and in return, and that person says thank you, but actually you want them to do something for you, and so you have a motive, but you don't express this motive. You actually just, that's only in your motive is only inside you, and you don't say it to the person you're giving the gift to. And then, and let's say you do that a little bit all further I mean, first thing in my head when I say that, I think of like sometimes maybe it's like bribing or political gift somebody might be giving.
Yeah,
this is what I'm thinking, but I don't have anything specific in my mind, because we know in companies they say there are certain policies where you're not supposed to give gifts to your clients or certain things because that is expected that they will have to return the favor, and that might be like winning the contract from you, So, but let's assume that if something like that is expected, but nobody declares that, either side, not on either side, that is what they want, but it is like understood without actually expressing it. So I'll go to Brother Rhino on that. Brother Rhino, if that is somebody calculatingly giving a gift like that, I mean, again, let's say what would be the spiritual consequences in that? Outwardly, I guess, yeah, you can see what's going on.
Well, I must admit here that I've never experienced such a case in my life where it is done, where some person does something good to another person and expects to receive gratitude, or even demands to receive gratitude for a very length of time, practically enslaving the other person and saying, you have to be grateful to me, to please me all the time for this one time I was helping you. So perhaps Brother Greg has an example there, but I do not have one. Let's just ask, if I just pass it on to Brother Greg, perhaps he can talk about it in a better way.
Well, I'm a bit surprised because there are many examples abound where in many cases a form of loan is given out and everybody say thank you for this particular loan, whereas it's something which has been diplomatically placed there to elicit some form of gratitude intellectually, but on the long run, they want, okay, you have to keep paying back this loan for the next maybe 100 million years. Such things abound, but one has to separate the intellectual activity from the spiritual activity. Spiritual activities transcends local, what we refer to time and space. It lasts for a very long time, not only on the physical plane do we see this thing being manifested. There are other non-physical where the manifestations take place. So you have a scenario where one has calculatingly, done something in order to get gratitude back. However, it is not directly so because he or she wants some other thing. It is done by individuals, it's done by companies, it's done by nations, it's done in many different forms. The key thing here is that these are very shallow activities. And at best, one may only receive rewards in an intellectual manner. It doesn't go far enough. And therefore, when the returns come back, they will only help those who must be internally open for it. So if one shows genuine gratitude and the person who is supposed to receive this gratitude is not internally prepared to receive the gratitude, according to the laws of creation through which everything came into existence, it will be that the returns will not find any homogeneous surrounding and therefore will flow away, will not affect the receiver of that gratitude the way it should have affected it, where he or she prepared internally to receive it. So as with everything, there is balance. There are checks and balances in within the scheme, within creation. So even if people are playing diplomacy and things of that nature.
Thank you, Brother Gregory. Did you want to say something, Brother Rhino?
Yes, I think at least I want to clarify something, but I'm not quite certain if I agree with everything which has been said. I think we have to distinguish something like a loan, definitely from an act of goodness which does not expect a recompense. With a loan, it's a business deal. I'm giving something, I'm giving someone a certain lump sum, and of course I expect the lump sum to be paid back at a certain agreed time. And of course I expect also an interest to be paid back after, as it is being arranged between the two parties. So it's a business deal, and that has nothing really to do with gratitude or with an action of simple goodness, and we should really distinguish those things.
Just to come in there, I think Brother Gregory was talking of an example where somebody asked for a one-time loan outwardly, but actually they're expecting further loans later and continuously. Am I correct, Brother Gregory? The example you were quoting was, I think, like that.
Correct.
So it's not a one-time favor, it's a continuous favor, but they don't say that, they don't declare that up front, they just expect it from you. So, I mean,
yeah,
so it's like, just like you use the loan.
You see it from the point of view of the beneficiary.
Yes.
He's asking for money,
Yes.
he's getting the money, and then he goes on and asks for more money, and asks again for money, and asks again for money. Well,
may I
also,
come in? That was not the
Yes.
scenario, strictly. The scenario was you have someone give something to another, and but in a calculating fashion.
Sorry, Brother Rick. Just repeat, because we missed it. Just start it again.
I said we have someone who is doing another a favor, but in a calculating fashion. All right, and
Yes.
knowing that the receiver is going to offer gratitude. However, the receiver is not fully aware that the giver is going to be expecting so much to last for such a long time. You say, okay, I gave you a loan to help you, and the receiver said, thank you very much. But that person who received the loan will keep paying back interest for the rest of their lives, all right? Or maybe the giver of that loan will start asking all sort of things in due course. Those are the ones we are talking about. And this is what happens, I mean, mainly in diplomatic circles. Even after the deal had been fulfilled, but they keep asking, because they will say, oh, don't forget I gave you this loan, even after that loan had been repaid back many times before, over. So that means the person who gave the loan gave it in order to trap the other person, so that he will keep reaping things in the near future or even in the far future. That was the scenario Mr. Brother Sad was talking about, and that's what I was referring to.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for clarifying that. I definitely didn't realize that that's what you were talking about. That exactly the giver who's demanding favors, and not the person who asked for the original, what appeared to be the original for help at the beginning. It's not him who's lacking gratitude. It's the person who's giving. Is actually demanding further favors. So thank you. So it's okay. So basically, it can work both ways. That's what, in a way, what you have said showed there, that people can demand, the giver can demand, and the receiver can demand, but not, with how can I say, not is they have conditions which they. So thank you for that. Dear listeners, you're listening to Blessed Radio on Tuesday night, the spiritual discussion program. The aim of the show is to introduce you to the spiritual knowledge in the light of truth, the Grail message by Abu Shin. And we have a topic every week. The topic for tonight is gratitude. We'd love you to join in our discussion. Any comments or questions? Now, I've got a different number for tonight's show than our usual number. It's still a UK number, and I prefer if you can contact us by text or WhatsApp. The number is UK number 079 39 641 958. And if you're outside of UK, it is 0044 79 39 641 958. Okay. Now, I want to move the gratitude between human beings, gratitude to our Creator. What I want to ask you, Brother Reiner, is yes, Almighty Creator God has created us, but He doesn't really need us. And so, is it necessary that we need to show gratitude to our Creator? Is there any such need for that? I mean, like I said, He has created us, but it's not that He needs us in any way. So what would be the point of us giving gratitude to the Creator if He doesn't need it?
Well, of course, the Creator in the last analysis does not need, can live very well without humanity, and can live very well without the gratitude granted by humanity to Him. But I think with an increasing wisdom within us, after we have matured, we come slowly to the recognition that it is something wonderful to be allowed to be alive, to be allowed to walk through that creation, and become more and more overwhelmed by the beauty of the creation. That might not come initially, it goes gradually, it's a gradual process, but some people definitely are overwhelmed by the beauty to stand under a southern sky and seeing night sky and seeing the million of stars, or seeing the Milky Way, or seeing a sunrise, or just the ability to breathe, or just the pleasure to be able to move around, or such the pleasure to walk through millions, to walk through a warm summer rain, and it's the most pleasurable experience, and he begins to thank God for the simple fact that there is something like rain. You realize God has made this creation like this, that there's rain, there's sunshine, I become warm, I can feel cold. It's a wonderful thing, and he becomes thankful quite naturally for that all. And this thank, I'm sure that rises up as a constant prayer, as a vibration towards the Lord. And I think he can, and he has the complete right to expect from us that we in the end recognize what he has been given to us, the gift to exist at all. And I think that's the very fundamental thing. We have received from him the gift to exist, and to develop a consciousness here, to become conscious, and to be so ungrateful. I think no human being with any pure heart developing can stop for being grateful for the greatest gift we just can receive, which is to be allowed to live and to exist. So I think, yes, he has a right to expect it. Of course, he can very well do without him, but we should also be thankful, because we definitely can do without God. And we are dependent on his grace every second. Every second we live, every moment I breathe. There are millions of things which only work through His grace.
So just to clarify, because I don't know if what I heard exactly right. So you're saying we do need to be grateful to God, and yeah, and so we need Him, even if He doesn't need us.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Thank you for that. Now, Brother Gregory, following on what Brother Ryan has just said there, he mentioned prayer. Would you say that is one way to express our gratitude to God?
Well, then the word prayer has to be understood in the proper context. Prayer, one way or the other, is one channel which one may express gratitude. For, as is now very well known, gratitude, like we mentioned, has to have elicited joy from the one who is offering gratitude. And if one uses the channel or uses the concept that the most beautiful prayer is pure joy, so one may now take gratitude or prayer as a form of gratitude or a prayer of gratitude. But one is not saying prayer should be a demanding prayer. That means you will not keep asking for this, asking for that. One is referring to prayer here as a compensatory value filled with thankfulness for the joy that has arisen out of one in experiencing all the blessing that has accrued to the one who is now giving gratitude. So yes, prayer, the correct prayer in the correct attitude, which expresses itself in pure joy, that is the best gratitude that can be given to Him whose power is used in everything, whose power made it possible for the human spirit to exist, whose power made it possible for the neighborhoods, for the preparations that granted the human spirit the possibility to start as an unconscious spirit gem, to undergo a journey, and in making preparations in other realms such that this spirit gem will experience joyfully and will in due course become conscious and finally become self-conscious. The surroundings, the environment has to be made possible such that the human spirit needs to go through this environment in order to awaken the abilities which have been planted within it. It is only right for the human spirit to show gratitude for in developing these talents which have been planted within it. It will come to fruition and it may then live joyfully.
Are you there, Brother Gregory?
Yes, I am.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Okay, I think we just lost
Oh.
Brother Gregory there. Thank you, Brother Gregory, for your answer there.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello? 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 Hello?
Bless Radio there.
So yes, it's coming now. Yeah.
Yes, we actually lost the internet connection on our side, so apologies for that.
I see. Okay.
So we're back. Thank you, Greg, for waiting, and sorry, listeners, for cutting out. Okay. I'm going to Just to remind the listeners, you're listening to Bless Radio. This is the Tuesday night spiritual discussion program. And the aim of the show is to introduce you to the spiritual knowledge in the light of truth, the Grail message by Abrushin. And the topic for tonight is gratitude. You can join us with your comments or questions on this number for tonight, which is a UK number. It's different from our regular number. And the number is, you can text or WhatsApp. The number is for UK 079 39 641 958. I'll repeat that. That's 079 39 641 958. And if you're outside of UK, it is 0044 79 39 641 958. And you can listen to us also on YouTube live. You go to youtube.com, search for Bless Radio 1 live stream. So we're broadcasting live. And after the show, 10 minutes after the show, which is we finish at 8 p.m. in UK time, 10 minutes after the show, you can listen to the recording. You need to look for Bro, Sard, and the Grail message. And the topic for tonight is gratitude. So, okay. Okay, Brother Rainer, I think I've got a question for you now. Right. Just to check, Brother Gregory, can you hear me?
I can hear you, though faintly.
Okay. Okay. Brother Rainer, we've been saying. Sorry. Okay, so Brother Rainer, we've been talking about, when you say thanks or give gratitude, it has to be genuine. And if it's not genuine, let's say you do it in a calculating fashion, then the consequences or the reward for that, the laws of creation will act accordingly, So now, and we've thought of, let's say, okay, I'm thinking of the question to ask you.
So I think that genuineness, that's a big area to talk about.
Yes.
I hope everybody can hear me. Brother Greg, can you hear me all right?
Yes, of course. I can hear you loud and clear.
Brother Gregory, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you very well. Hello, can you hear me?
Hello. So gratitude is such an important topic, and on genuineness. In my opinion, one of the very basic things the Grail message tells you in many ways is to become genuine, to become real in what you do, to become truthful in what you do. And this does not only concern the words thank you when I say these to something, that they are really honestly meant, but it concerns also every other word. We have to get to the place when we use language again in the way it should be used. We use the words in the way they demand to be used and they want to be used. And that is that our intuition is in line with the meaning of the words. So if I say thank you, I really mean thank you from the bottom of my heart. And the wonderful thing, what the Grail message tells you, that each word and the intuition with which the word you speak create immediately a form. And in fine matter, not a visible form, but an invisible form, but which is nonetheless can be experienced by the way you pick up the atmosphere, or how you feel next to a person, or how you feel when you are in company where lies are being spoken, or if you are with a person which is deceitful in its way, so that the words he speaks swing differently from his intentions underneath, because he tries to deceive you. You feel very uncomfortable in the presence of such a person, if you are sensitive enough. So we've definitely got the organ to experience insincerity, not being sincere. And in this case, so the good thing and the important thing is for us that everything is in line, that we inwardly, our intuitions are of the same nature as with our words, and then everything is in harmony, and we feel easy, very easy doing it ourselves, and we actually set into creation something very beautiful. We set a form, an invisible form. And this form, if it's a pure thank you out of the bottom of the heart, really is a vibrational form that rises upwards like a prayer to the luminous heights, and as a reciprocal action on the beneficiary to whom we say those words, a blessing ripples down again. So on the one side you have this upper movement from the expression of thanking someone, and that emotion goes upwards into more luminous, or into the luminous heights, and from there a blessing descends. So we must really think, when we say thank you honestly, we offer a blessing as a return to the other person, and the other person is really blessed in that way. And this can only happen if we are truthfully thankful and express it. Then if we are not thankful, other forms will arise, because there's a conflict between our saying thank you and the way our emotions are. And then the tone also changes of the thank you, and it might be an insult, or the other person says, I can say thank you in a million of ways, and we know when it's almost this insult, or where it's just that perfunctory, or as an empty word husk, not meaning anything. But if it is meant honestly, and the word is truthfully, is appropriately applied, then very good things arise of it. And one of the very good things is that a blessing descends on the beneficiary. Now this thing, of course, extends to all other words. In whatever we speak, our intuition and our thoughts should be in line with the words we use. That, of course, would stop any lying, any deceiving going on. It's a very simple thing. Just be true to yourself and speak only those things you intuitively feel inside of you, and which are in line with the way you think. And then you would have with a very simple means, you would have an honest world where everything would be good. There would be no deceit, no diplomatic, intriguing. It would be a world where trust could enter again, where I trust the other person, because I know the other person speaks the truth, and he means the things he says. And if he does not mean the things he does not say it. That's of course an ideal, but we definitely have to go towards that ideal.
Thank you, Brother Rainer, for that. I I mean, that's a major thing what you've just said there. So what you're basically saying, what is in your heart or what's in your soul must come out with those words that you speak, and not mask what you actually feel. And some people could say, you look at somebody's body language, but you're talking more than body language, because you're saying, it's like it's the vibrations that are coming from you. People can sense it, and so it's not just the body language that gives away what somebody, outwardly they say certain words, but
body language speaks a different language, so to speak.
Okay.
It tells you other words.
Right.
And of course, body language is an important thing, where we just realize, which we interpret even without consciously knowing it, but our spirit really reacts all the time to the body language, to the facial expressions, to millions of things, which indicate to every tone in the voice, every inflection of the voice, where we can make out that the other person is not honest at that moment, or that I have to be beware. And of course, we have to know that we live in a world where there are wolves and where there are liars and where deception is going on. And we must become so aware, or awake, I think Brother Greg uses always the word awake. We must be so far awake that we recognize when we are approached in a dishonest way. And then we can really quite clearly say, no, I do not want any contact with you, or I do not enter in any business deal with you, because I know what you speak, that is not honest. And that's it then.
Okay. Thank you, Brother Rainer. Now, Brother Gregory, I've got a question for you. Should we show gratitude to our enemy? Is that not hypocrisy? Someone who's your rival, or another country, say, can we show gratitude to somebody who's like an opponent? That's to Brother Gregory.
Well, I hope you can hear me clearly.
1 second, Brother Gregory, just.
Go ahead, Brother Gregory, please say something.
Can you hear me clearly now?
Yes, now we can hear you.
Now, we said at the beginning that gratitude is something which elicits joy from deep within you. And gratitude is only an expression of that particular joy. Using that context, is one able to show gratitude towards an enemy who does not give joy but sorrow? The answer simply is no. For if, in quotes, an enemy comes in to subdue or to destroy you, no joy comes from destruction when you yourself, you're striving to live aright, and here you have someone who comes to destroy your longing to live aright. So no joy streams out of that, and therefore no gratitude can come from that either.
If I can follow from what you've just said, but obviously we are not meant to be vengeful, retaliating. If somebody attacks us, then we have to defend ourselves. I agree, but then also we want to live a joyful life, and we should give joy out to people. And also, it's like you want to be an example to other people. So even if somebody, in quotes, has a negative motive or something, we still want to give everybody a chance to to change. So, and maybe I think one way to show, if you show gratitude, maybe those who have the bad motive will see that you have a good motive, that when you give your gratitude, and they could change. Or is that like being naive?
Well, the key thing here is that the first thing is that we know that gratitude is only an expression of pure joy, gratitude in form of thanks. The way one may look at the scenario you just mentioned is that we have a situation in which the aggressor keeps us on our toes in that particular scenario, we are grateful because we are not, complacent. For we know that without such aggressors coming across our path, we will not remain on our toes. At least one may refer to that in quotes, the enemy keeps us on the alert. The presence of the enemy makes us vigilant. In that case, we are grateful that such a force is around that makes us vigilant. So that is the sense that one should take it.
Thank you. So it sounds like when you have nature, one animal eating another animal, and and the animal that catches the, I'm thinking of an example. Let's say a tiger catching a deer. If that's a good example, and the tiger targets the weakest deer. That's what you see in the nature, and obviously then the strongest deer keep going, and, they stay alive. So it's like you mentioned, that's keeping people alert, or in this case animals alert, in accordance with nature. So as human beings, obviously we're not meant to eat each other or anything like that, but other human beings endangering us keeps us also on the alert. Would you say that?
One may say that other human spirits, by their nature, unconsciously in whatever they are doing, keeps us on the alert and makes us vigilant. And therefore, one can counter whatever comes their way or comes our way in order to prevent that other particular personality from incurring terrible karma, not only from us, but also on himself. So one may interpret it that particular way. The rules that apply to the animistic, which are not spiritual, so the animistic rules are different from spiritual rules, which are also different from divine rules. And also these rules are different from the day-to-day interaction from the earthly rules, which abound. But the best one can hope for in the case of, in quotes, an enemy, is that it leads us to vigilance, such that we become so much austere and to sense that which is not right and make preparation in order to counter it or to avoid such scenarios. So whatever the situation is, as long as we are on a vigilant path, then we are grateful for the opportunity that brought that one into being.
But you definitely would not say thank you to some opponents. Say thank you that you contributed to making me more vigilant, and I looked through your ploy. Sorry about that.
Well, that is why I said, in a sense, one may see that way, but it's kept to one's self.
Yeah. It's more joke. It's more a joke.
Jovial. Yes.
A joke.
Okay, now I've got the something I'm going to ask Brother Reiner then, with regards to gratitude. So, should Brother Reiner, gratitude be in spoken word, or can it be in silent in thoughts, or just deeds? Because if you don't speak, so another person may not be aware that you're giving thanks to them, and unless they're psychic or sensitive, So, can you basically show gratitude? Should it be shown in words, or it can be shown in... Brother Gregory? Are you there?
I'm silent. Maybe...
Yes, okay, sorry, we could hear something. All right. So, yes, I'll just repeat the question to Brother Reiner, which is, Brother Reiner, can we show gratitude? Does it have to be said in spoken words, or can it be in thoughts and deeds, in silence. Because if you don't express it in words, somebody that you want to thank will not, unless they're psychic or something, they won't notice that.
Well, that's a difficult question. I'm a little bit at a loss, but I think we definitely can say, even if you cannot express it in a word, in words, and you do not meet the other person, but you know the other person, that inward state you have, this inward joy it gives to you, that of course goes its course, and that inward joy just rises up into the luminous heights and comes back as a blessing. So he will definitely receive a blessing, and he will definitely receive something the beneficial. But if you can express it in words, of course you get the whole power of the words with it. And we talked before about if intuition or emotions and words are in line, that's then something very beautiful. That word glows, that word vibrates in that intuition, and that of course is, I think it is preferable if the beneficiary sees your joy in your eyes and receives the words in person. But definitely I can imagine many situations where you cannot express it in words. Sometimes it's even very difficult. I know that I'm not a very grateful person myself. Looking back on my life, I try to figure out when I've been honestly thankful to another person, and I must say I couldn't think of so many occasions. But I know one thing, for example, sometimes I'm really grateful when I hear a song that is a Stevie Wonder song or something, and I think, all the world, I really thank him that he's put this wonderful melody into this world, and it really lifts me up. It gives me so much joy, and I think this joy really reciprocally benefits whoever it was, let us say Stevie Wonder, and he feels it, that he's a man who is appreciated and he's loved, and he gets this feedback through the unknown networks of creation, which I explained in the Grail message. But definitely there's a communication which does not need words, and I think lots of blessings reach such a person who puts such beautiful objects as beautiful songs, as for example, it's a beautiful song. And so,
yes, thank you, Brother Ryan. And of course, Stevie Wonder is worldwide known, well-known artist. So it's not only you benefiting from his music and singing. The world is also benefiting, and you could almost say he's been put in the world. I mean, let's say God gave him this talent, and he was born even blind.
Yeah.
I think, if I remember correctly, one story. As I say, I can't say I promise this is absolutely correct, but I think his mum cried when she discovered that he was blind, but he told his mum, because obviously she thought he can't be very useful in the world, but I think he told his mum that, I can't say exactly the word what he exactly said, but it was like she should be grateful, really, that, and of course he's proved it, how great he has become, and so something which outwardly looked like there was a weakness or disability, maybe actually pushed him to become the big man that he became, and he's become, and it's like, and all of this, I will say, all of these people.
I mean, the important thing is, I think he has made the world a better place with his songs and with his lyrics, and he has shown us many things. There are of course other people which are probably as famous as Stevie Wonder, which I do not appreciate that much, because the songs lack the goodness, and I've never felt to say thank you for that song. In fact, I said it would have been better this song did not exist, although that very person is very famous. So I think if you set something good in the world, and wherever you elicit gratitude and you elicit joy, the joy simply to listen, and that joy falls back onto the beneficiary. And the mechanism is explained in the Grail message, how it does. You are joyous and your heart is uplifted listening to the song, and you suddenly feel an overwhelming joy. I love this man, the purity, and I wonder, where did he pick up this melody? How could he reach this heavenly melody and bring it down on earth and make it sound out on instruments here on earth? And you just say, thank you for making my life more beautiful, that you added something to my life. My life would be purer if you hadn't existed, if you hadn't written that song. And I think that's the important thing. And also for us, it is important as a general rule to do things which uplift other human beings. It can be, of course, on a material level, but then you will always reap thank yous from many people, which even perhaps you've never had contact with, but I think something falls back on you.
Thank you, Brother Rainer. Dear listeners, you're listening to Blessed Radio. It's the Tuesday night spiritual discussion program. The aim of the show is to introduce you to the Grail message in the light of truth by Abdrusheen. And you can also listen to us on YouTube. If you go to Blessed Radio 1 live stream, we're there right now. And after the end of the show at 8 p.m. UK time, 10 minutes later, we can hear a recording. Just look for go on youtube.com, search for Blessed Radio 1, then under Bro, Sard, and the Grail message, look for the title, which is the topic for tonight, gratitude. So, and you can join us with any questions or comments. The number to contact us tonight is, for only tonight, is UK number 07939 641 958. You can text or use WhatsApp. And if you're outside of UK, it is 0044 7939 641 958. Now, Brother Gregory, we have got a good example of gratitude of, or let's say, the manifestation of gratitude through, let's say, Stevie Wonder. But we also know that, lots of, let's say, evil or dark things can happen when people basically are not telling the truth, or not outwardly they're saying one thing, but inside is something else that they're thinking. And we know that this has been going on for centuries with humanity. So, and we see the consequence with Stevie Wonder, how much joy that brings. But then, what I'm wondering, obviously we know the laws, whatever, let's say you sow good, you get good, and when you sow bad, you get bad. But then how long does the effect of this, the good or the bad last? Because, for example, we could say Stevie Wonder, his music will be there even after he passes on, and people will enjoy it. And we already know other, let's say, classical music or other big names of the past, their music has lived on for, centuries later. So, and then they're still having that good effect, you can say, on the human beings on the earth. So, similarly, people doing, let's say, evil things of the past, their results are also carrying on. Now, would you say, this is, I'm just trying to clarify the question within myself. So, can the evil sort of continue continuously? Because the good has its own result, and the bad has its own bad result. So, will it carry on forever? Like the good can carry on forever, can the bad also carry on forever? That's my question to you, Brother Gregory. The consequences of the bad, let me say.
Thank you very much. I hope you can hear me very clearly.
Yes, very clearly, yes.
Well, when the good is mentioned, this is only with the context of the laws of creation through which everything came into existence. Whatever swings unconditionally within the laws of creation, or whatever is in harmony with the laws of creation, will persist forever. The bad, which does not swing unconditionally within the laws of creation, will only persist for a short period of time. It seems that the bad continues to persist because there are many other human spirits who supply, who give a constant supply of energy to such terrible things in order to maintain them. But those things are not in accordance with the laws of creation, and before long, those things will have to perish, because there comes a time where they cannot continue with a supply of energy to make them stay for a very long time. Whereas that which is good, which came from on high, will continue to receive the blessings, the power, and the energy to ensure that things continue, such things which swing unconditionally within the will of the Almighty. So the bad will perish because it only has a short span, and those bad things only persist here in the world of matter. And when the world of matter will have to undergo disintegration, then that which is bad with it will have to also go through such disintegration. Whereas that which is good, which swings unconditionally within the will of the Almighty, will be persisted, because these are the experiences which touch the human spirit, which it takes along its path in going back home. So the bad will not exist forever.
Just to understand that a little better, Brother Gregory, for the bad to sort of, you could say, die or not persist, but because human beings have free will, and as long as there's a human being, willing to be bad, if I can say it that way, continue to do that persistently, let's say, then surely that evil cannot be, it won't be taken out, because the free will can't be removed from man. And so, as long as man is acting in this evil way, or sending out the evil vibrations, surely the evil can't be destroyed.
We just mentioned that such is only possible within the worlds of matter, and that the world of matter has a lifespan in which we have the coming into being, the maturing, and the disintegration. And that which is not in accordance with what is good will have to undergo that disintegration. So if you have the scenario of a personality which persists that which is bad, when the time comes for the dissolution of the world of matter, that particular personality will have to undergo disintegration or dissolution of the experiences it has gathered, because those are not in accordance with the will of the Almighty. On the other hand, that personality that has been striving to do that which is good, which is in accordance with the will, or in accordance with the laws of creation, those experiences will lead it higher and higher, away from the world of gross matter, away from the world of matter, until it gets back to its origin as a self-conscious human spirit.
Thank you, Brother Gregory. So, from what you're saying, in the material world, or the universe, physical universe that we live on at this moment, at this time, if evil eventually will be destroyed, because the world will, I mean, in the end, all the material world has to be dissolved because it has a particular lifespan. Now, let's say, okay, my question is really this then. As long as there's, let's say, bad or evil people around on the physical world or the material world, is it any possibility of sort of good happening, because the good cannot just be there as long as the bad is there? Or can God intervene and force, may have not quite the right word, but intervene to to make this world back to how it should be? So
it is very well known that whatever a man sows, that he or she must reap. And therefore, for one who persists on being bad, the experiences that come in return will be so severe as to make that particular personality go through very deep sorrow. If it continues to persist, then it's unable to sever itself and rise higher as a conscious being. It's unable to sever itself in time in the world of matter, which world of matter undergoes disintegration. And because it's tied to it, it will be crushed, and it will then return back home as an unconscious spirit gem. Whereas that personality that has persisted with that which is good is able to use such experiences to move it up higher and higher, and returns back home to paradise as a self-conscious human spirit. So it is that the power which is utilized has been used in a wrong way. And in that particular scenario, that personality that has bound itself must redeem himself before the dissolution or the disintegration in the world of matter. If he's unable to do that, then it is done for. So one has to look at these things on the long run, what happens.
Thank you, Brother Gregory. I'm going to focus back on the topic for tonight, gratitude. I know we slightly explored a bit different things there. So now...
slightly is a euphemism.
Okay, all right. Okay,
to the end, the disintegration of the universe,
yes,
which probably leaves many a listener perplexed.
Okay.
But I think we leave them perplexed.
All right. Thank you. So, okay, Brother Ryan, let me go to you now. Okay, so going back to gratitude now. You said about expressing it in words or thoughts. How about some people want to, let's say, build a monument to God or something, express it in not only the words we've said, what about in a physical way? Would you say that's a good thing as well, building a monument as an expression of gratitude?
Okay, I don't know.
I don't know if I'm saying monument, it could be temple or like a...
Yeah. Okay, let me say thank you for the question.
Okay.
Whatever tone you read in it.
Okay.
Okay. Saying thank you to God and thanking I think this is a very difficult and at the same time a very easy question. how I see it is the greatest gift and the best way to say thank you is to enjoy living and do God, and be conscious that there is a God, and you joyfully do the deeds which you have to do, the deeds which bring upliftment to others and upliftment to humanity. That's the greatest way. And this everyone can do, whatever he does at the moment. If he programs a good piece of computer software, or if he builds a building, or if he makes someone's shoes, if he makes good shoes and the customer is satisfied with this and loves them, and he has taken a fair price for it, I think that is pleasing to God, if it's done with a joyous heart and not with the attitude, oh, I hate my job, I dislike it, and I think I'm being underpaid, and I do not want, and all this kind of things of in discontent. I think saying thank you to God is being content and thankful for what we can experience at any moment in time, and be joyful in our activity. So what about the cathedrals which have been built and the temples? Of course, they are wonderful things if they really celebrate, if they are really built to show the greatness of the Creator and as a thank you to the Creator. Well, everything we do should at the same time have this other purpose, to be a thank you to the Creator. But then there are these sacred places, I say that with some reservation, the sacred places, like a cathedral. And of course, I would say, if that is not built for another purpose, like to give the city a very important building to attract tourists or something, or to say simply, oh, this is an imposing building, but it's really made simply to be absolutely beautiful. And through this beauty, it is almost like a prayer, that building, which is pleasant to God. But it must be done, it must be built by the architect, must be designed with a thankful heart and a joyful heart, that he can exist and that he has the chance to bring such a building into existence. Like we said before, Stevie Wonder brought something into the world. A great architect can bring wonderful buildings into the world, and they can be stunning in their beauty. And this beauty itself of the building, of course, celebrates God. And yes, that answers the question. We can say thank you to God, to buildings, to beautiful buildings, which are then, of course, imposing and stunning with their beauty, and they can, and the possibilities of designs are unlimited, because beauty comes out of infinity, in my opinion, or it comes out of infinity, I'm certain of it. It's received, and because it is infinite, it can have infinite different manifestations. So we do not have to cling slavishly to past beautiful buildings. We can develop new shapes, and if they swing in the laws of creation, and if they adhere if we apply our aesthetic sense, or our sense of beauty, then of course with any such building we celebrate and praise God.
Thank you so much, Brother Rainer, for explaining that. And now I would like to go back to Brother Gregory. Brother Gregory, is gratitude, sometimes it's like, well, let's say, Brother Rainer gave example, he couldn't think of too many examples, not that anything against Brother Rainer here, just how many times have we shown gratitude, let's say. It's almost like you need prompting before we would show gratitude, and So the easiest example you could probably say is when we are in need, or when we're in an emergency or something like that, and then we are saved. You know, our life was in danger, and then we are saved. Of course, we show gratitude. But how can we, first of all, Brother Gregory, would you say we should be showing gratitude, you know, without being prompted? And how can, if that's, is that, would you say that? We should be like, we should be self-aware already that this is something we should be doing? I'll ask you that first, Brother Gregory.
Well, it's very imperative that being alive alone is a prompt that should elicit gratitude from us that we are permitted to experience. And being alive only means that those innate talents which have been sown within us should be brought to life. So it could be these talents are exhibited as buildings, on the design of buildings. It could, sorry. It could be that it could be exhibited in form of songs. It could be in writing. It could be in everything that one does. It's done in such a way that it should elicit joy, many a joy in others. It should bring happiness in others. And others, in turn, will sort of show some form of gratitude. So life itself, or living itself, should be done in such a way that it brings forth gratitude to the one who is living or is alive, and also to one's neighborhood or to one's surrounding. For the surrounding is not empty. There are others who are in the same neighborhood as ourselves. And when they see that through our activities, we're able to impact joy to others, they themselves are also happy. So they will also strive to give joy in return. So it becomes a mutual exchange. That is what is intended. That anything, any activity one is engaged in, as long as it's done in such a noble way as to sort of show that indeed there are genuine talents which have been implanted within us, and that we're making the right effort to bring this talent to fruition, then the process of doing that, which brings us joy, that is gratitude itself. So we don't have to wait for extremes where we are in sorrow or near sorrow before we show the gratitude we should be showing through deeds. In fact, gratitude should be shown in deeds, in the proper utilization of the time and space which has been granted to us to mature.
Thank you, Brother Gregory. And so I just want to, maybe I'm going to put it to Brother Reiner here. Following from what Brother Gregory said, you know, we don't need to have an emergency to show gratitude. We could just, by living, we have that. So would you say that is like a duty of it being, just being a human being, that we show gratitude? Or is it something like that, or?
No, it is definitely not a duty. I mean, let us say, take the Stevie Wonder example again. He writes a beautiful song and he picks it up out of heaven, and you've got this heavenly melody, and he writes this heavenly song. And he puts it into the world. Now, of course, millions of listeners do not like the song, and some like it. And that might be all kinds of reasons. That might be not bad reasons that they are bad persons, but they might be on a different wavelength. They might be just not mature enough, or they are perhaps inclined to a completely different direction. They just do not like pop songs or something. And So Stevie Wonder has of course it never will come into his mind to demand gratitude, or to say there is a duty of the listener to show gratitude. Every artist knows that there are people who dislike it, and people who are not, who are indifferent to it, but some people like it, and those who like, their joy in this music is the gratitude. It's an immediate response. It is, you don't have to prompt them. You listen, you experience something beautiful, and the reaction of joy is immediate, much more. And if you need prompted, there's already something wrong, and probably the emotion never elicits the emotion of joy. So one can say no one in his senses would require another person to be grateful, and it's definitely not a duty of the other ones. How can it be? What I do might fall on the ground or not, but get thank you and blessing from the ones who say, this moment in time, I think it's a beautiful present. You have enriched my life, you have added some music to my life, and have also uplifted me in many good ways. Now, I think that explains
very, very much. Thank you for that. Is there anyone here who would like to share something with the Grail message with regards to tonight's topic of gratitude? Gregory, share?
Not today.
Not today. Okay, fine.
I think I would like to not share something of the great message, but something I just remember about Stevie Wonder, which I read in Hillary Clinton's book. And that was after she discovered that her husband had this affair with Lewinsky. Everyone knows that she went into a deep depression. She only wore huge sunglasses and refused to speak about it. Later on in one of her books, she described those moments in her life. And she said that Stevie Wonder came to the White House and he played a song for her. And she said she doesn't remember anything. She only remembers that she always moved closer to Stevie, and was almost at the end sitting right next to him. So you can read that in his book, and that has given her so much hope and strength that things, after all, will turn out in a good way. And having her given that that balm of the soul through his music and through his being, and there is really a moment of great help to another human being. And this is, and surely she has expressed that thankfulness in many ways, and also through writing this wonderful passage in one of her books, which she just wrote after the Bill Clinton presidency.
Thank you, Brother Rainer. Now, this is to Brother Gregory now. We've talked about gratitude not being a duty. What about it being a virtue? Something like a good characteristic of a human being. Would you say that is a virtue, gratitude?
Gratitude itself is not a virtue, for the virtues all come from above. These are specific features. Gratitude is only a compensatory value for what one has received and is expressed as joy or happiness. So one would not say gratitude is a virtue. Virtues have different features, but gratitude is only elicited from the one who experiences joy.
Thank you for that, Brother Gregory. So let me see now. I mean, we've discussed so many aspects now, and just thinking. And do you want to say something, Brother Reiner?
No, I think we have talked pretty
so
much about gratitude,
Yes.
and so we almost.
I mean, okay, let's say, what is our task? You know, we, as a human being, I mean, okay, we can also talk about the laws, just to remind our listeners.
No, wait a second. I think this virtue thing.
Oh, you want to go into that?
Deserves some elaboration.
All right.
So Brother Greg said, okay, gratitude is not a virtue. Essentially, it's a compensatory action.
Yes.
To restore a balance again between the beneficiary and and who received the act of goodness.
Yes.
So it's not a virtue, and let's take a virtue, for example, like truthfulness or constancy, which are generally regarded as virtues. Now, truthfulness is something you should be all the time, at any moment in time, and if you know the Grail message and you know the laws of creation and know what happens as a result of our actions, the consequences of the actions, you know that you never can go wrong being truthful. And when you say something, so even if clever philosophers say, oh, in some occasions it might be better to say a lie, and they come up with very constructed cases, in fact, I think you never are better off saying a lie, and it always comes to light. And if too many people say lies, no one trusts anyone. So if you want to fob off someone with a lie, he just pushes you aside because he says, just be quiet and I'll check for myself. So this is the thing. I think one difference is that a virtue should be applied all the time, and that virtue leads upwards. Whereas gratitude is a limited in time thing. You can be only grateful when you have received something good. The only exception, of course, is God itself, because we receive all the time, every moment. We receive everything from God, so there we can be all the time grateful. But also here we can decide against it. But virtue is something, I think, in my understanding, virtue is something I adopt the virtue, I try to be virtuous, and I should be it all the time. So that's a little bit to put a little bit of depth onto that, because we have not explained what actually a virtue is in more detail.
And I want to follow on what you're saying there about being truthful, because if you're always truthful, there's at one point a danger that you'll be attacked and killed, and you're putting yourself in danger. So is that, I mean, I'm not saying we should necessarily should be lying, but it looks like there's a risk when you are standing for the truth, because some people don't like to hear that. We know that people don't like to always hear the truth, but then you're putting yourself at risk as well, in your life. And why would you want to give up your life? Well, let's say for something that is not. Maybe I'm not so expressing it so clearly, but sometimes you think you don't want to lose your life on something small.
Yeah.
You just want to really fight for
Sorry,
something
may I
big.
suggest that maybe in another discussion we take the topic as virtues, and then we would have prepared ourselves very clearly so we can express ourselves very distinctly, so that there is no deviation from that which we intend to do today.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think I'll
right.
agree fully.
Yes.
So
Okay, we will leave that for another day.
why don't you just ask them about this one? Does that exist? Prayer of gratitude.
Okay, so I'm going to ask, okay, this is to Brother Gregory now. Please, Brother Gregory, can you give an example of a prayer of gratitude to God?
Perhaps not saying the prayer itself, but perhaps
Right.
just what would be, is there something like a prayer of gratitude, and what would a line of that one be?
Well, the best one can reflect on, it's the Lord's Prayer. That is a prayer of the deepest gratitude when it opens up with our Father. Then it goes out, who art in heaven. For me personally, and if one examines very carefully, a human spirit who has the right attitude is ever or will ever be capable of uttering in pure joy, because it contains all that the human spirit living in creation, or the human spirit who strives to live aright, should utter in gratitude for being permitted to experience all this. So that is what, as a typical example, one may use as a pure prayer, which should elicit the greatest happiness as it comes from the personification of divine love himself. And such prayers which elicit joy should be the highest that one is capable of ever, uttering from deep within one's soul, not in a shallow manner, but said at, I won't say specific times, and not rushed through, but in deep concentration. That is the best prayer that there is, or the best gratitude that there is.
Yes, I think I would agree. Just if I can add a few words, I think, of course, there are wonderful words praising God and psalms, and you can use such psalms or lines in prayers to thank God for the goodness you received. But I think the most easiest and most wonderful thing would be, or is, if your whole life becomes joyful. In that moment, it is a prayer. You are just, every action you do is a prayer and praising God, and rises upwards. So in the last analysis, God is not served by our kneeling and wringing hands and putting ashes on our hair. He wants upright, joyful people living joyfully and responsible in a responsible way their life, and do their tasks, and are happy that they are faced with new tasks, and see the sense of it as a challenge which helps them forward. And this joyfulness itself, which you experience when you do things, this joyfulness is the best of all prayers.
Thank you, Brother Gregory. Brother Reiner, for that.
Thank you, Brother Reiner, for that.
Yes. Now, And for your contribution, Brother Gregory. I don't mean to ignore you, of course. So, okay. Now, what can... I just want to... you just said there's so much we've covered already. And we are almost to the end of our show now. So I just want to, I'm going to finish a bit early tonight, I think. I'm going to ask Brother Gregory, is there anything you'd like to say to the listeners? And I don't actually have any topic decided for, just so you know, I haven't decided the topic for next week yet. We're still working that one out. So yes, Brother Gregory, anything you'd like to say to our listeners tonight?
One would like to advise that these topics we have taken are only an introduction to the walk in the light of truth. Moreover, our discussions should not be taken literally. I will even go further to say, don't trust the discussions. The best you can do is to strive to examine the work yourself and see what you can make of it through constant examination. That is what is helpful. In here, we're only expressing our joy in being permitted to have examined this work. And therefore, we invite the listener to participate in the examination of the work in the light of truth. And we wish them well.
Just to be clear, when you say don't trust our words, what do you mean in that? Because obviously I don't say you're not being truthful in what you're saying. So
no,
what do you mean by that?
What one means is that don't be complacent and take the words just like that. One needs to reflect on the words and see whether these words or these expressions fits the laws of creation, whether they are helpful to elicit joy. For once you take things trustingly without examination, you end up using the standard of other people, whereas that means you are standing on stilts. But once you put the words aside and examine for yourself, the process will be such that you are able to take out that which is wrong, which you must have had here or there. Even the words of the message itself must be examined. So what one is saying is that examine what we have discussed. If you have the capability, examine the words of the message if you have the capability. Then, in the process of rigorous examination, you will come to trust, but not just accept things because it has been discussed and you feel happy about it.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Thank you very much. That's very good words.
Brother Ryan, anything you'd like to say to the listeners?
Well, I would like to say goodbye and have a good week. And we will be online or broadcasting again next week, Tuesday, 6 o'clock.
Thank you.
And looking forward to see you there.
Thank you for that, Brother Reiner. So from me, Brother Sard, I want to also thank you listeners for joining us tonight. Hope you enjoyed the discussion. Hopefully we gave you some insights into what the Grail message talks about. And of course, we really do invite you to examine the Grail message yourself. You can find it online. You can Google it. Also, we know there's a website you can go to as well. But which is the one we tell you, but you can go elsewhere as well, which is the website is www.grailmessage.com. And we hope you will join us next Tuesday. We will have a new topic. At this moment, we haven't decided that yet, but we really we'll be glad for you to join us. And of course, we welcome your questions and comments. That makes the discussion so interesting for us. and we hopefully help you answer your questions. All the best, everybody. Have a great week, and thanks for listening tonight. All the best.